coming at you live and uninterrupted from Darcy Street in South Hobart for this Lakoseljac Cup round of 16 tie between South Hobart and Devonport Strikers. South Hobart, of course, took out the Lakoseljac Cup last year, and they begin their defence today up against Devonport. Usually a rather gritty and tenacious team are the Strikers up against South Hobart. Both teams coming up league losses just a couple of days earlier, so they'll be both out to atone those efforts in a cup clash that means a heck of a lot, of course, with an FFA Cup spot on the line in the Lakoseljac final later on this year. I'm Damien Gill from FFT, bringing this one live to you. To the left of me, I have Nick Owen, who's made the big trip down from the north to west. I think you've been down all weekend enjoying a lot of fine football. Maybe not from the Devonport boys. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Nico, lovely to have you on board.
Yeah, I've been about this week, Gilly. I caught the South Hobart Olympia game on Good Friday, and that was a belter of a game. The crowd were up and about, and the stands were full, and there was vocal, and there was goal celebrations, and there was all sorts. So I'm very glad I made it down for that game. Unfortunately, I didn't go back to Devonport for the Saturday game between us and Knights. It was a bit of a shambles. It all unravelled there, and Knights did well to put 3 past us, and we couldn't trouble the scorers. So it was I know Broadbent wasn't happy with the way they played, but he'd have to be happy with the fact that he kept a clean sheet. You can't deny that their defence were fairly on song without being tested too much. But there's plenty to do. As Callum Pass just leans over Gilly's shoulder to assess the lineups, and he might have heard a little bit of a word about the lineups for today. I've got a funny feeling Devonport might be trying something different. As we can see South Hobart on the screen there, they're going to line up with hopefully not Chris Downs in goals. That's just what order they've been written in. Kane Pearce will be in goals, but we'll go down the list. We've got Chris Downs, Dan Brown, Hugh Ludford, Matt Lewis, Kobe Kemp, Ben Hamlet, Harrison Thomas, Darcy Hall, Braden Mann, Chris Hunt and Kane Pearce. They've got the full 5 subs on the bench with Walter, Hess, Stevens, Roger and the familiar Mark Monker. As we go over to the Devonport Strikers, who are a bit short on the bench, by the looks of it. They've only got Ben Andrews and Jake Thomas and Gleeson on the bench. Their lineup will be Thomas Pearce, Luke Banfield, Bo Blizzard, Bradley Chilcott, Brody Dennehy, Daniel Sison, Adam Gorry, Matthew Jordan, Kieran Mulroney, Dominic Smith and Michael Holden. They've got a few young ones in there. I think Matty Jordan makes his first start for the club, so he's done some pretty good work off the bench of late. And big Dommy Longlegs, he made his debut on Saturday and put in a pretty good shift on the Saturday. And we'll be looking forward to seeing more of him, the big strapping 16-year-old.
Bit light on there, Nico. I suppose 2 road trips in one weekend makes it pretty tough for the Devonport boys, but looking forward to see a better performance out of them than they dished up on Saturday up against Glenorchy Knights, a team they were highly fancied to take down. Didn't on that occasion, but of course cup ties are a fairly different prospect as well, so I'd be expecting to see something a bit more ferocious out of this Devonport group. Pesky's right here. I'm not sure whether his vocal cords are up to a full call, but we might get a little nugget from him before it's got started. Lovely to have you here at Darcy Street. It's probably not the best conditions for viewing all football, but I'm expecting, as I was just saying, a little bit more out of Devonport than they dished up on Saturday in what is a pretty massive cup clash.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, nice to be back, Gilly. I won't be partaking in the call. Just try to give the jaw a little rest at the moment, a little rest and rehabilitation. But came back in from the East Coast this morning thinking it was going to be a great day for football. And South Hobart, my hometown now, has really turned on the rain for us. Cold, overcast. At least no wind about, so just a bit of drizzle on the ground, and that'll mean the ball will zip about today on the deck, and the pitch is absolutely picture perfect at the moment. So Conditions pretty good, really, in the whole, as long as the rain doesn't get too much heavier. In terms of Devonport's lineup, I'd just like to the Combat Wombat himself, who will take charge today for Devonport. And yeah, he just alluded to the fact that the squad, the lineup might change a little, that Devonport's approach today might just be a little bit different. So I think perhaps that result on the weekend against Knights, that certainly I was shocked with, and all credit to the Knights on the win, but I think Devonport will be reeling from that, and I think potentially Eves will try to change that up today by letting the guys go out and play with some freedom, perhaps just give them a new challenge, a bit of a different type of setup, and that'll be really interesting to see today. South Hobart, of course, also strangely coming off a loss, a massive clash on Friday that saw Olympia get over the top of them 3-1. So it's all to play for today. Of course, the FFA Cup breathes new life into this competition. The Lakoseljac Cup's always been held in high esteem in Tasmania, but it's even more important now as it means entry into the national FFA Cup rounds. So really exciting for both teams, and Gilly, I'm looking forward to just sitting behind you blokes and just listening to the call and just seeing how this one unfolds.
Quick one from across at Alinda Grove. They're 26 minutes in there, and students are 3-0 up over Glenorchy Knights. So an upset brewing at Alinda Grove. And the earlier result had Hobart Jeep Zebras beating Taroona 6-3. So, yeah, it's been an interesting start. I'm not sensing an upset here, though, Nico. If I was to tip it, I'd say South Hobart probably 4-1. I'm going to back them in.
Yes, well, after Bobby Eves' comments on Saturday to the media, honesty is the best policy. That's what I'm getting for it, as the whistle goes to sort the teams into order. Yeah, I can't see Devonport winning, Gilly, to be fairly honest. I reckon they'll be holding him out for as long as possible, and then hopefully they can pinch one on the break or two. As we see the all three referees, one's a pretty optimistic fella. He's got his baseball cap style on. I'm not sure, I'm no UV expert, but he's probably not going to get burnt today. But he's ready for all weather. And another little side to the game is the fact that Jimmy Hordle, the referee from Saturday's game, that Bobby Eves felt necessary to slam in the media, he is officiating today. So I wouldn't be expecting too many favours if I were Devonport strikers. The last time Devonport played here, it was, I think, last year when South Hobart needed a win to secure the title. And Jimmy Hordle was the referee on that occasion as well. And I know Devonport's coach last year was none too pleased with his work that day as well. So it's a bit of a... could be interesting to see how much FFT keep giving us Jimmy Hordle. I have liked his work previous to that though, so maybe he's just had a couple of off games. But we'll see how they go today as the players shake hands getting ready for the first whistle. I think the whispers from the Devonport camp are there's going to be a few people playing in different positions. I think Michael Holden, maybe Brody Dennehy and Kieran Mulroney might find themselves all in different positions. We'll wait and see though, as kick-off's not too far away. Both teams huddle on their side. Referees await the captains. The captains for today will be Hugh Ludford for South Hobart and Kieran Mulroney for Devonport. It's one of those games, I think, where Devonport have really got nothing to lose. Obviously, they'd like to come down here and get a result, but it's probably not on the cards. But yeah, if they can get South Hobart reeling, Gilly, you might be able to shed a bit of light. Maybe with Schmidt out, who's going to be playing in defence for South Hobart alongside Lewis Brown and Ludford.
Yeah, so we'll look at the South Hobart lineup a little bit closer. There's a couple of changes. Lazinski out as well. He pulled up pretty sore from that effort, but we'll see them walk into position now, and it looks like Chris Downs is going to go back into fullback, which is not a bad option at all. He's played there quite a bit, which means Kobe Kemp gets rewarded with a start. He was bright since coming on off the bench on the weekend, so I'd like to see him rewarded, and it's a pretty interesting looking midfield pack for South. Looks like they're going to run with Mann sort of on his own. up top, and then 2 wingers wide, and then 2 behind. We'll have to look closer at that formation. Where kick off as Devonport get going. Gorry on the ball, plays out for Dennehy. Drives long down the line, bobbles off the boot of Lewis, and he can mop up with a bit of help from Ludford. He guides it back to Pearce, who had a mixed game up against Olympia. I thought he was super for about 9/10 of it, but just at the end had a bit of a brain fart and got in a bit of trouble. So I know that was a hot topic in the press conference after talking to Ken Morton. He was far from pleased with Pearce's adventurous runs out of the box, I think you could put it as. But I guess you get what you take with Pearce. You know he's going to pull off a blinder, but he also may just wander a little bit too far out of that box at times. It's a free kick, and Devonport will have their first real chance to get things moving their way as Chilcott bombs long and strong into the box off the head of Downs and out. So it looks like they're running with a 4. Yeah, they were running with that sort of diamond formation again. As throwing comes in. Back now for Mulroney. Shark from Hall. He looks to run. Sison steals. First real look for me for Sison. I didn't see him on the weekend. How did he look up against Glenorchy? Of course, we've talked probably almost at nauseum about how bad Devonport were, but how'd Sison look?
Yeah, he didn't get much service, I would have thought. He looks okay. He didn't have a great game, but he will hopefully. He looks a lot better at training, so we'll just put it down to the first run, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of him today. As Daniel Brown fouls Matty Jordan out there. Now, believe it or not, for all those traditionalists out there, Devonport are playing with a sweeper. It doesn't happen often, Gil. I know you're a student of the game. We haven't seen too many sweepers in the Victory League type get-ups as Gorry swings in the free kick it goes out for a corner. So, we've got 5 at the back for Devonport, and with Banfield as a sweeper and 4 across. Our left back is Michael Holden. Our right back is Brody Dennehy, normally your left and right wingers. Daniel Sison's pushed back into a centre midfield position, and Kieran Mulroney's pushed himself up to play as a striker. Matty Jordan gets his first start for Devonport as Dom Smith kicks it out for a south throw-in. And we've got Dom Smith and Bradley Chilcott as the pairing in the centre of defence with Luke Banfield behind. So I don't know if they know what they're doing out there, but they've started off all right. So hopefully Bobby Eves and Mao Gorry have worked something out that'll work for this cup fixture.
Yeah, South Hobart rocking that diamond formation that we saw on Friday as well, with Kobe Kemp in there at the expense of Downs. Has played in. It's off the heel of Dennehy in the end and thrown clear by Pearce. On from Mulroney, who we're used to seeing down back, and of course he's up top. We're going to use that pace of Mulroney. I believe he started as a striker back in the day, as in Mulroney, yeah, so that there are his origins, but he's been a pretty solid defender in years gone by in the Victory League as it's played out to Ludford. A heavy touch almost lets him blizzard. He slides in. Luckily for Ludford, gets it to Kemp, receives back, plays to Lewis. It's advantage from Hordle, played through looking for Mann, and Pearce sends it clear. He'd have absolute nightmares of Braden Mann from a fortnight ago. And sent 3 in past Pearce. Chalk it down to a real learning experience up against a fearsome South Hobart attacking pack.
Yeah, I've actually worded up the strikers in this game. Haven't been impressed with some of the goal celebrations I've seen of late. Scoring a goal is supposed to be something pretty special, Gil, but the celebrations by all teams have been pretty poor. So maybe hopefully we see a bit of a goal celebration today at some stage. And let's start valuing these goals. As Gorry has the ball out on the left, he gives it away, and has gone out for a throw-in to South Hobart. Loved Harry Woolley's celebration, I think it was, on to score the second goal for Olympia the other night. That's how a goal should be celebrated, and we need to see more of that. As Lewis plays it down the left out to Hunt. Hunt will tuck inside, but he's cut off by 3 Devonport defenders, and he's pumped long and cleaned up by Daniel Brown. Played a lot of long balls on the Friday, Daniel Brown, so might be something he's looking to work on, just keeping the ball a little bit more. As the ball goes back to Pearce, another dubious clearance by Pearce. He's normally good for 1 a game. Banfield plays it out wide to Brody Denny at right back, who looks to play Jordan down the line, but it only goes as far as Lewis. And Gorry puts in a bit of a crunching tackle on Lewis after it's testing Jimmy Halter's patience early on. Ball with Hugh Ludford now, plays it back to Daniel Brown, the author. Settles on the ball. Looks for Lewis out wide, who's unattended. Had the opportunity to swing a ball in, but there was no one really in there. Tried to play the ball down to Hunt. Dennehy cleans up at right back and gives the ball straight back to South Hobart. Hunt picks it up. I think that's Kemp in the middle there. Keeps the ball, plays it back to Ludford, and Ludford plays it to Brown. The big yellow bus is firmly parked here, Gilly. It's going to take a little bit for South Hobart to work their way around it, as the ball, lovely ball from Lewis, nearly made it to man at the back post. Cleaned up by Darcy Hall. Daniel Brown collects. South Hobart are pretty much, they can do what they like with it in their own half and around the halfway line. But then they've got the 5 at the back from Devonport and the 2 in midfield to contend with, and they haven't found an answer yet.
Interesting to see the likes of Dennehy and Holden in sort of defensive roles. Dennehy in particular, I think, is probably coasted along up top for Devonport for some time. Not a lot of pressure on his spot, I wouldn't have thought, and he hasn't. He's a bright young player and he's shown a bit, but he probably hasn't gone on with it as some would have expected. And I think maybe a move to defence and just do some of the tougher things, not just the cherry on top sort of things, might be good for him as it comes in midfield. They hustle and bustle, and then it comes out through Sison. He delivers forward for Blizzard, who looks to turn with it. And we hold up, and it's a slice of cheese for Benny Hamlet into the book early. The Hammer time is far from happy to receive a slice, but he enters the book. It'll be a free kick for Devonport. I'm going to applaud this effort from Devonport in terms of really mixing up and shaking things up with the formation. They could have just rolled out the same old thing and got pumped, but this makes a real game of it. And there's an intrigue with it. It's played to Gorry. He loses it from Harrison Thomas, but does enough to see to Sison. Back now for Banfield. Oh, he rockets it straight in a hole. This might let him Braden Mann off his chest. He keeps running. Banfield back to help him. Still got it though, Mann. Plays for Hall. And he fires home. So a Banfield mistake sees them leak one. I was just banging on about how I like their move with the formation, but that's South Hobart for you. 1-0 here in the 9th as we see a replay. Comes through from Mann. Good pressure coming from Banfield. Does enough to put it back for Hall, and Hall fired in to the right side of the net. Made it 1-0. Kick-off now for Devonport. And they'll try and regroup as Sison propels it forward down the right-hand side. For the run of Jordan there. Pearce on it. Plays forward to Hunt. Hunt 1-2s with Mann. Mann loses his footing. Comes to Sison. Gets it through just to lose the foot of Jordan. And Ludford finds Hunt, who moves it nicely to Mann. Puts it out in front of Hall, who gets running. And Pearce, a long way from home, tries to get involved. Banfield clears instead. Pearce all at sea, but luckily for Devonport, they can scurry it clear of Hall and out for a throw-in. So we're into the 10th here, rather, and South Hobart lead. Played from Hamlet to Downs there, and it comes off Gorry last. And we'll be out for a deep throw in. For the midfielder come fullback, Chris Downs. He's quite a versatile player as he throws in. Should receive back from Hall. Put across the box by Downs, and it's Banfield who just clears the danger. If in doubt, get it out, and he's gifted South Hobart a corner here. First of the game. It's Hunt who will whip it in. It's a nice curling cross into the box. Looking for the header man, Mulroney. There's two bites of the cherry. Eventually deals with it. On the boot from Gorry. Bounces away. Chilcott will rise high with Kobe Kemp. He wins it, does Chilcott. Off the head of Jordan, looking for the runners. And it's Lewis who should mop up. Pearce skies it high. It'll come down with snow on it. Thomas looks to collect, and Jordan gets him well. Good foot in. Gets to the Blizzard, who loses it to Hamlet. And a rather sloppy slide tackle from Sison gives South Hobart possession through a free kick.
Played quickly by Thomas, back to Pearce and back to Brown. Inside ball to Kemp, who looks to be playing in that 6th row. Thomas picks up the ball into the feet of Hall. Hall back to Ludford. Ludford to Lewis. Hall nearly loses the ball but wins it back well. Plays it into Kemp, who tried to play it out to Hunt, but the ball was deflected. Devonport giving the ball back far too easily here. South Hobart win it back again, and it comes out the left to Lewis, who plays it through the channel to Hamlet, but it goes through to the goalkeeper Pearce, who clears it long, and the ball's come off Lewis's head out for a throw-in for South Hobart. Thrown by Dennehy down the line. Once again, South Hobart pick off the ball pretty easily. Darcy Hall probably spending an extra second on the ball than he needs to. Sison picks up the ball, plays it all the way back to Pearce in goals. Has a touch. Looks long to Mulroney. Mulroney flicks it on without any... So just having a few microphone problems. Lewis, I've called his name a fair bit. He's picking up heaps of the ball. Nice little touch by Darcy Hall into Thomas in the midfield, and the ball is lost again. It's going to be a constant thorn in the side for South Hobart, I think, with Devonport playing the 5 across the back. They're playing the ball nicely in the first 2/3, in their own 2/3, but it's the last third where they're falling down a little bit. Holden to take the throw in. Throws it straight to a South Hobart player in Kemp, who then heads it to Dom Smith. Plays it to Dennehy. He hasn't got a lot of options here. He's going to have to do some little dance his way out of a bit of trouble. He's done well there. Didn't have any other options. Then gave the ball straight back to the South Hobart defence when he probably, once he'd done the hard work, he probably should have done better. South Hobart again having their own way with it, with the ball in their defensive half.
Few score updates. We'll get to those in a minute. Gorry looks to play out to Blizzard. Stolen well by Ludford. He plays down the left flank, and with a bit of extra dew on the grass, it's very quickly rolled out of play. So a few updates from around the grounds. University are absolutely flogging Glenorchy Knights, 5-0, approaching half-time. Northern Rangers are 2-0 up in the 37th minute, and Launceston City are 1-0 up in the 35th over Somerset. So there are a few of the score updates. We'll keep you up to date as those ones develop. This is played forward by Thomas. Stolen away from Mann, but ends up with Hall. Dishes inboard to Mann, who tries to navigate his way into the centre. Comes back out to Hall, who looks for Lewis. Lewis leaves it alone, and Dennehy slides out for a South Hobart throw. So upsets brewing. It's Rangers 2-0 up, pretty comfortable at Clare Street. But University, real surprise packet. All over the Knights. As Dennehy looks to win it in the air, it comes to Sison, who just rockets forward. Comes off a shin and ends up with Ludford. He plays across for Kemp. Takes a touch, moves it across for Mann. Mann looks inside. Comes off Gorry. Goes out wide for Downs. Steers it to Kemp. Kemp maybe a little bit too casual on it, but in the end does enough to keep it and plays back for Thomas. Ludford now for Thomas. Comes now for Downs. He wrestles with Holden for it. Holden picks it up, plays it into him, receives it back. Ping-ponging all over the place. Smashes into him, and it's out for a throw.
Brown picks up the ball. Darcy Hall in dangerous position. He plays it nicely there to Chris Downs, it may have been out there. Downs or Kemp, I can't tell when they're facing me. And it's gone out for a corner. Second one of the game to South Hobart. Hunt's going to swing it in with his more favoured left foot. Daniel Brown just giving Benny Hamlet a massage in the box. They might be trying the rugby union sort of lifting up type set play. Hunt goes bush to get the ball. That pesky little bush down in that bottom left corner there. Swings a lovely ball in. It looks to be at the back post. 7 people challenge for the ball. And Daniel Brown fashions a shot towards the goal, and it's easily collected by Pearce. Pearce distributes to Holden, who has a... man, Hordle's found a free kick somewhere there. As Turtle's first touch took him a bit far, but he got his toe in before I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, Hordle's found a free kick there. Holden's going to take it himself. Hasn't got a lot to aim for in there. Kieran Mulroney is closely attended by Ludford and Brown. The ball goes in that direction and is very easily cleared up there by Downs, I think it was. The ball's come out to Mann, who's found himself in the penalty area. Thought about going down pretty easily, but thought better of it, and Dennehy's cleared the ball up. Denny does well there to get it to Adam Gorry. Plays a nice little 1-2. Kieran Mulroney looks straight back into 5 South Hobart defenders when he probably could have done better. Maybe that unfamiliar role is he needs a bit of time to adjust, playing with his back to goal. Ball's nicely spread out there, almost nicely spread out there to Chris Downs, who can't control it on the slippery surface. Bit of a familiar story from last weekend against South Hobart. There's not going to be too many chances for Devonport. Very close attention to the ball play there. South Hobart pressing with a fair bit of intensity. As Sison clears it up. Plays a long bouncing ball back to Pearce, who calmly plays it to Chilcott. That's what we like to see from the young fella. Mulroney wrestling with Daniel Brown. Brown gets the better of that, plays it to Hall. Man couldn't find the gap between Banfield and Gorry to play it back to Hall. Ball still bouncing about in the penalty area. It's going to bounce a few more times as Holden tries to clear it. Hunt picks it up. Ball in from Kemp. And Gorry dispatches the ball over the fence for a South Hobart throwing.
Another score update, half-time. Kingborough Lions are 2-0 up over Metro. Goals coming through Watkins in the 15th and Cuthbertson in the 21st minute. I believe Lonnie City's up 1-0 over Somerset at half-time. We'll get confirmation on that in a moment. It's played down the line. Blizzard wins it. Oh, played from Dennehy to Blizzard. He toes past Lewis and then looks to cut inside of Thomas. One back through Lewis who finds Brown. Blizzard's kept on going. A real terrier-like effort. Almost gives Devonport the ball in their front third, but it's seen away eventually. One in the air and it's out to Hamlet. Sloppy first touch almost lets in Gorry, but he does enough to find Hunt. Now it's to Harrison Thomas who gives and goes. Picks it back up on the edge of the box, leaves it. Just drops it off for Hall, who's on the byline now. He looked across it. Finds Thomas, takes a touch and fires a very flat shot that looked goalward and was well blocked by Chilcott out for a corner. We'll see this again. Hall played across. It was a nice ball that picked out Harrison Thomas. He hit it. It was flat and goalward. It was nicely blocked and bodied down by Chilcott, and it's out now for a Chris Hunt corner. Whipped in. Pearce comes out to it. Not a convincing punch. Lets in a Braden Mann header, but in the end, they do enough Devonport to see it out for another corner. This time, it'll be from the opposite side. Downs now from the left. Whipped into a crowded box over the back for Mann. He gets it across and Banfield does enough to see it over his own crossbar and out for a corner. Another update coming in. Beachside up 4-1 against Southern FC. Southern FC down to 10 men in that one as it's whipped in. Seen away by Mulroney and out for another corner. So Southern FC, they would have been sky high coming into that one off the back of a big win over University, and they've met a beachside team up that's up and about. So that's half time in that encounter. 4-1 to the Beach as it's whipped in, punched away by Pearce. Brown's the only one there. He leaves it for Hall, who fires off a shot that yet again will go out for a corner, keeping Nick Owen very busy on the corner side of things. What are we up to now? 7 corners. And they've probably all happened in a row. It's been interesting, that's for sure. Whipped in now. Hunt post. Well collected by Pearce. He can maybe send Devonport forward on a rare attacking foray. It's a shocking effort. Picked out Thomas though, who gives it back to the young goalkeeper, and he'll might be able to have a chance of bettering it this time. Just a feed forward. It's cut off by Downs. It's cut off by Sison. Goes back now for Chilcott. Off his right boot. And Lewis just whacks it forward for South Hobart. Bounces over the head of Chilcott. Onto the chest of Mann. Goes to Ben Hamlet. Rattles off a ambitious shot from range that never truly tests Pearce. And it's out to the left and out for a goal kick. Lewis now to bring it back in for South Hobart. Looks down the line, no one presenting. Goes into Hall, who's been lively. Seen away from him to Kemp. To Dan Brown, who's had all sorts of time to operate in at the back there. And it comes to Pearce. He doesn't look to have one hair out of place despite the the average conditions. The rain only seeing that salad glisten more as it comes into the hustle and bustle of midfield. Comes out with Mulroney. He does well to get by Downs, who checks him a little on the halfway line. Might see him enter the book. We'll have a look at this again. Came in, bustled aside. Hunt did Mulroney. Couldn't get past Downs, though. Fairly meaty challenge from young Downs, but it's a free kick for Devonport. Holden now, just beyond halfway on the left. We're into the 26th minute here. He's wrapped it, his boot around this one, and comes out, and it's a nice mark on the chest from Pearce. He absolutely wraps his boot around it, propels forward for South Hobart, but no one there. And Pearce, with a bit of guidance from Chilcott, just goes and gets it outside his area, and then comes back to collect. Whacks it forward, long and strong into the bullseye. Mulroney contests, does enough to see it out for Jordan. He sends forward, sent away by Lewis on the hop. Nice bit of play. Thomas combines with Hamlet, gets it out to Hall, who skips by one. Can't beat Gorry though. Plays forward now. Dennehy will look to do a little cheeky flick. Doesn't come off as Hall gets a boot in, and Lewis picks it up. Looks to get by Sison. Plays back in the end to Thomas, who's pressured hard from Blizzard. Gets it to Hamlet, who finds Lewis. He tries a long ball, long diagonal, looking for Chris Hunt. Doesn't pay off as Pearce comes out and collects, throws Devonport forward. Looks to beat Hunt, can't quite, but does enough to get by him and then find Jordan in the end, which is quite good from a somewhat sticky situation. Mulroney gifts it to South Hobart, and they can mop up through Pearce, who he's probably pretty lucky he had no pressure there because he almost spoiled himself. Did enough in the end to find his skipper, to Kobe Kemper, who's looked quite composed in central defensive midfield, to Brown, to Downs, who just gets dancing down that wing. Comes in now. Banfield meets it rather unconvincingly. This time he gets a heap on it. And just cannons it out of play beyond halfway on the left-hand side.
He's one of those old-fashioned type players, Banfield. When he tries to be a little bit fancy, he can get found out, but when he puts his boot through it, it's a pretty solid clearance. As Pearce looks to invent something in the middle, but instead decides to play it out for Ludford again. Back to Brown. Nice little ball to Hall, who's probably been guilty of holding on to the ball a little bit. One or two touches too many. On that occasion, he plays it back to Pearce when he found himself under some pretty intense pressure from Jordan. Thomas, sort of a misguided pass, but it looks almost like Lewis could get on the end of it. As Banfield comes across, cleans up, and South Hobart get the throw in. Man in his familiar head shake when one of his teammates doesn't do something he wants him to do. Lewis takes the throw in. It's snuck over the byline for a corner. Very sloppy as George Mamark is sitting next to me. He's doing his own commentary. He didn't think it was real great, and I agree with him. It wasn't very great. Downs to take the corner. Top young player, young Chris Downs. Very impressed with what he's done so far this year. Delivers a strong ball to the front post. Tries to find Ludford, who couldn't actually flick it on. The ball's still in the box through man. Dom Smith gets a boot in. Ball falls back to Darcy Hall. Hugh Ludford's vertical jump of 3 centimetres wasn't enough to get himself up to win the header. As Blizzard picks up probably dispossessed a little bit too easily there, Blizzard. And Gorry takes down. Yep, well, a slice of cheese for Adam Gorry. Now, if that's a slice of cheese, yeah, probably the same as what happened on the halfway line. Callum Pask, I agree. Cheese for one, no cheese for the other. Well, you be the judge. You've got the vision there. This is tailor-made for Braden Mann. I think it was Nick Manns who scored from a similar spot on the opposite side. George, is that right? Braden will probably want to be replicating something like that from the opposite side. The wall's back a good 10 yards. That top corner on the near side is looking delicious. He has a crack at it, but safely picked up by Tom Pearce in goals.
Gilly, just going to pop in and pose a question to you and Nick here. Do you think Devonport will be happy going in 1-0 down? And do you think they're just going to try to keep it at that and then steal something on the break, last 10 or 15? For mine, you've got your best attacking asset, Holden, stuck at left back. What are your thoughts on that setup?
I don't mind it in terms of stemming the flow for now, but it might be the case that they roll the dice as the minutes tick on if they do just keep it at 1-0. As Kemp steals, plays to Hamlet on halfway. He goes back to Kemp. Tries to thread it through. It's cut off by Chilcott, who gives it out to Holden. That man you were speaking about coming past. A bit of space out there on the left. Looks to thread it through all the way for Sice and misses him, and it's won by Ludford, who gives it to Hamlet. Nice little combination. It ends up with Hunt, who's gifted it. Plays to Hamlet. Out on the left he goes. Nipped off the heels of man and out for a corner. Yeah, the corner count has kept Nick Owen super busy in the stats department. I think that's their 9th corner. So a whopping 9 corners. Devonport doing pretty well just to hold on to the 1-0 deficit. As we can see in the background, you probably can't on the stream, but Alex Lazinski on crutches. It doesn't bode well for next weekend. It's Downs who whips into the front post. Dogger Brown gets down low to try and head it. Devonport scurry clear, and it's with Blizzard. What can he do? Tries to just muscle his way past Harrison Thomas. It doesn't pay off, and it's out now through Downs on the left, who goes back to Ludford. Had plenty of touches, these South Hobart defenders, in plenty of space as Downs. Cannons forward down the left-hand side, and that one will be out for a goal kick as we tick into the 33rd.
Yeah, Bo Blizzard just there getting caught on the ball. He's probably guilty of 1 or 2 too many touches at times. I have to say I'm liking Brody Denny here at right back, Gilly. He's winning the ball quite well, and he's without too much support. He tends to keep it at times as he challenges for the ball against Hunt. Neither of them get a touch on it. Lewis daintily plays the ball over the top of Bo Blizzard, but goes straight to the Devonport. Devonport finding it very hard to get over the halfway line as Chula takes out his own goalkeeper. I don't know what's going on. You're going to have to commentate that one for yourself, but man could have probably finished as Harrow picks the ball up, shoots, and held by Tom Pearce. A bit of a calamity there. Anything could have happened. The crowd were up and about, that's for sure. Brad calls for handball. It's pretty obvious Brad Chilcott wasn't happy with that. South Hobart again, very familiarly just playing the ball out of the back line with ease. It's a bit, it's no good just Michael Holden just chasing the ball around. If the rest of his team's retreated, he might as well do the same. South Hobart once again played up to the halfway line. Lewis back to Ludford. Devonport blocking things up further down the pitch. It's a bit of 5-on-4, and you probably won't see it, but up front it's pretty much 5-on-4. There's plenty of movement, but the ball's never going to get into any of the channels. As Kemp plays the ball, Denny again does well to take the ball off Hamlet, who and break down a pretty promising attack. Can't quite find the feet of Holden. Brown can't find the feet of anyone either. The ball is spilt back. Pearce plays it safely and long to the head of Hugh Ludford on the halfway line. Thomas picks up the ball again. And again, I don't know how many free passes Hugh Ludford's had. Numerous.
Being too busy counting corners to count the free passes of Hugh Ludford, but I reckon they would have easily hit double figures. He's had all sorts of time and space back there as he plays back to his goalkeeper, Kane Pearce. Now through Dogger Brown, who gets racing down the right. It's a long aerial ball. He does well to find Hamlet, and he just opts to take it first time and rockets it into the netting in front of the canteen behind the goal. Here we go again. There's a long, very nice ball from Dogger Brown. Taken from Hamlet. He just rockets it over the bar and into the canteen area. Pearce will bring this one back in. So Devonport doing well just to keep it at 1-0 really. South Hobart's cutting edge, probably not where we're used to seeing it, as Kemp plays to Hall. Goes back to Downs. Plays to Kemp, he turns with it. Rolls along to Mann and finds Thomas, who looks to swiftly get it moving, looking for the run of Hunt. He slides in, but Dennehy stands up well to him, takes it and races away. Down the line, finds Blizzard. Off his chest, picked up by Ludford, who pirouettes and finds Lewis. Hunt with a nice little lay into the centre, and Bo Blizzard impedes the run of Harrison Thomas, and it'll be a free kick for South Hobart as they look to just push forward once more. I'm with you, Nico. Loving the work of Brodie Dennehy, and that's what I was saying pre-game. I thought maybe a move back there will breathe some life into him, because he's probably had a little bit too easy up on the wing, and not a lot of pressure on his spot, and just getting back into the simple things, back in defence, and he's done it well so far, as it's Downs with a long free kick. Whips in, looking for Brown. Off the head of Chilcott. Hall puts it back in the danger zone, and Mann smashes it out for another corner. The 10th. Double figures now for South Hobart for the corners. We'll see the free kick again as Downs whipped it in. Brown was looming large, but Chilcott got enough on it to see it away. As it's whipped in this time from Downs, and yet again seen clear by Devonport for another corner. 11th now. Got a tweet in, long balls didn't work Friday, not working today either. Get a new plan, Kenny. And Dale Queen just getting the nails out on the Silver Fox, Kenny Morton. Chris Downs now. From the left, whips in. It's over the back, and man, looming large. It doesn't come to him. Dan Brown just runs into it and then splatters on the ground. Played forward by Holden. Move for the runner, Blizzard. He picks it up. It's come off his knee. It's a heavy touch. Pearce mops up at the edge of his box. Plays to Kobe Kemp. Now to Thomas. What you see there is exactly what Devonport is sort of hoping for, I guess. Just looking to hold on at the back and then just catch South Hobart on the break as Kemp picks it up from the bullseye. Plays forward for Ludford. He's a long way from home. Looks to thread the needle. It's cut off by Dennehy. And out now for Blizzard. Can Devonport ignite something here? They play forward. Off the shin of Mulroney. And Brown looks in a bit of trouble. Holding his back. Downs picks it up. Good pressure coming from Jordan. Smothers him in the end, and it's out for a South Hobart throw, but denied him of the quick release. And I've liked what I've seen of Jordan in recent weeks. Just has pretty good closing speed, and he's just always energetic in that front third for Devonport as it's played down the line and seen out by Gorrie. Been pretty agricultural today. Down the line, off the chest of Hall and back for Kemp. He's had heaps of space. Out now for Ludford and then Lewis. And forward now for Mann. He gets really racing away. Nips inside of one, tries to beat another. Dennehy comes in with a good slide, but it comes out to Thomas. Finds Hall. Looks to go out right and then nips into the centre and is seen out by Holden for a throw-in. So we're into the 40th. Couple updates from around the grounds. Yete Towns has added a third for Northern Rangers, so they look to be coasting to a somewhat comfortable cup win over Newtown there. And in the 54th, Glenorchy Knights have pegged one back through Vinny Commando as it comes through to Thomas. He finds some space. He rockets one just wide to the right. We'll see this again. Some good work from Hammer, who's been pretty lively. His interplay's been pretty sharp in the build-up. And he did well to get wide of Chilcott. Found some space. But the shot, the wrong side of the post for the young South Hobart midfielder. As Pearce plays forward. Off the head of Ludford. Man tries to find Hamlet. It's cut off the back there by Dommy Longlegs. And there's forward with Gorry, who just races away. Comes off the shin of Kemp and finds Hall, who does a few spinneroonies and then loses it. Forward now. Ludford all on his own in all sorts of acreage. Plays to Lewis, who almost misguides that ball, but in the end Thomas retrieves it. Plays to Brown, and South Hobart just look to build this attack up. We're into the 42nd now. It's still 1-0 for South Hobart. It's played down the line, along to the left, and Chilcott watches it over for a goal kick. So if University do get up, which you'd presume they would from a 5-1 sort of scenario, it would be the second time in as many years that they've knocked Glenorchy out of the cup. So a bit of a rivalry building there as Sison rises high with Kemp. Kemp wins it. Plays to Hunt. Hunt's touch lets him down and it's races out of play. Comes to Hunt. He races away. Mulroney bustles into him. Nothing illegal there as Sison picks it up and just gets it on the boot. Plays it down the flank. Pearce retrieves it at the edge of his box. Almost gives it straight to Gorry, but Gorry tries to be a bit too cute with the first touch and misses. Lets in Hall, who finds Thomas. Tries to thread it through for Hamlet. He keeps on applying pressure on that Devonport defence. Gorry steals now from Kemp. Holds it up on halfway. Goes back for Holden. We need Holden to get into the game a little bit more on that left-hand side. He's kept running as he passes it to Jordan. It's rocketed off Holden now. So it'll be Sison up against Ludford back there. Sison blocks Ludford's attempted clearance, and then Ludford very, very safely watches it over for a Pearce goal kick. As we tick into the 44th, so not too long left in this first half, and you got to say Devonport could probably give themselves a big tick for what they've tried to achieve here, because they probably wouldn't have hoped for too much more, maybe going nil all. That's about it. They've made it real hard work for South Hobart, although they've dominated possession. It hasn't been easy as Lewis plays the ball down the left, and Hunt comes across, but Dennehy's first to it and sees it out for a South Hobart throw-in. Throw-in now from Lewis comes to Hamlet, who tries to cut it across, and it's out for another corner.
I'm starting to think Daniel Brown, he's a foot taller than everyone else down there. You only have to start at the top of the goal box, and when the corner comes in, you run at it and you head it. That's as far back as he started, and then he goes, finally the actual ball's gone to him. It's good to see. He puts his hand up. It's never going to be another corner. But if you're that tall and you've got the spring that he does, just get the corner taker and put it on the penalty spot 4-0. And head the thing in. Rangers have now gone 4-0 up through Anderson. So that's looking pretty comfortable for them against Newtown Eagle, I think it is. Long ball by Pearce. Comes off the head of Hall. It's gone out for a Devonport throw-in. It'll be interesting to see what changes at half-time, Gilly. I don't think Devonport will change too much until the last 10 minutes. Eves will probably be happy with the 1-goal deficit at the moment. It still gives them a good chance. Going in 2 or 3 down at half-time would probably a too big a task here at South Hobart. 1-0 certainly not out of the question. And it is cup football. This Holden, I haven't been as impressed with Holden as I have with Dennehy. Mind you, Dennehy's had a lot more work to do. They seem to have come down the left a bit more than the right. As Hortelay blows the half-time whistle. And it goes in as South Hobart 1, Devonport 0.
So South Hobart into the sheds with a goal to their name. Devonport pretty well did what they probably set out to do in that first half and just made it really tough for the reigning Lakoseljac Cup champions. Wasn't the prettiest stuff you'll ever see, but it served a purpose. And it's given them a fighting chance going into the second half because they're only 1 goal adrift. And you never know what can happen on a fast break. So Devonport go in with a bit of a fighting chance, and but personally, I'd expect to see South Hobart probably round this one out in the second half. Geez, they've had some entries into the forward third. I mean, they've had 12 corners, 4 shots on, 4 shots off, which is quite baffling, really. Trying to really work their way into that front third, and sometimes maybe trying to be a bit too pretty and cut out the perfect chance, but it's been pretty tough with the wall of 5 back there from Devonport. It's made it real tough going for South Hobart, but you've got to say, in terms of possession and that side of things, it's been a pretty you'd have to say comfortably South Hobart are shading out Devonport at half time, but Devonport aren't really playing a game in which they want a heap of possession. They're just sitting back, trying to absorb the pressure and then hopefully catch South Hobart late in the second half. And as I said before, they've given themselves a fighting chance going into half time. Well, we might get the highlights of the first half up. It was pretty early in which opened South Hobart, I think it was the 9th minute through passing ball. The first half highlights. Hall was pretty busy early. Drifted out of it somewhat later on in the half. There's a Cody King cross that almost came off South Hobart. Well blocked from Manfield at the back. Played a full back. What we're seeing here is a yellow card to Hamlet. You just miss it out of view. Right now, here's the goal. So it was picked up by man. He actually won it at halfway. Put out in front of themselves and then played it across for Hall, who just finished rather delightfully in the right-hand side of the net. South Hobart had an amazing amount of corners, really. He's just one of them. Downs was pretty busy on this left-hand side. A lot of corners. Another one which Bamford cleared off the line. Just poked it over his own crossbar. Rainey got collected there on halfway by Downs. Probably lucky to escape without a slice of cheese, you got to say. I think this one was a slice of cheese, bizarrely, so 2 highlights in a row, nearly identical. One with a slice, one with that one. It's a pretty tame effort from Braden Mann from a free kick. How have you seen his first half, Nico? Braden Mann, it's been tough going. He's been surrounded a lot of the time. We see him in action here. Luckily, Devonport escaped that one. That looked like it was certain to be a goal. But how have you seen Braden Mann's first half?
Yeah, it just looks as if he probably should have taken that one first time. He got a little bit cute with it. Him and Hamlet, frustration's probably the big word. They both look, with the 5 at the back for Devonport, they're the type of blokes who get frustrated by that. Think that it's not in the spirit of the game, and probably think that they should be playing any different, but they're certainly getting frustrated by the 5 at the back from Devonport. Well, tough luck. They're not going to score any goals by sooking about it, so maybe it's going to be a long day for at least those two. Darcy Hall's probably been guilty of holding onto the ball a little bit long, trying to do a little bit too much. Hunt looks lively again, but without any great success. It's pretty much the story. The South Hobart defence are having it all their way. They can play the ball around as much as they like. The 6 and the 8 for South Hobart are looking pretty steady, but the passing channels are very few and far between. Devonport mistakes are going to be costly. There's been a few times when there's Devonport defence have made a few mistakes and it's opened up for South Hobart, but apart from that, in terms of playing through the Devonport defence, it's not really happening for them at the moment, so might have to change something. They've got plenty of options on the bench. Hess hasn't had much. I don't know if he's injured or not, but he hasn't had much of a run. He might come on. Alex Walter put in a pretty good shift against Olympia on Friday. He's another one that could come on. So it's certainly Mark Monker is probably the other one who could come on up front. I found an article where I'd scored a hat-trick and he'd scored the 4th goal. So he has history of scoring goals, but history being the operative word, it was the last millennium. So don't think that's a viable option for Ken. But certainly Alex Wilder and Fred Hess are good options. They've also got Joe Stevens and Cam Rogers to come on as well.
I'd expect to see maybe some run put into legs of Cam Rogers. I think that's a player Cam Morton has earmarked as a key in his midfield as the year ticks on. Probably a little way off from full fitness yet is Cam Rogers. He's coming from a year layoff through injury. I'd expect him to see a fair few minutes, and I reckon Fred Hess hasn't seen much football at all since the Summer Cup, really, in terms of first-team football. So I expect to see Alfred Hess involved, and we haven't seen enough of him to know exactly what his quality is like, but the glimpses we've seen, he's pretty sharp. So I reckon he'll be included, and as you said, Alex Walter was electrifying at times up against Olympia. Yet again, another key player for South Hobart, that's for sure. Score updates, I think we're all pretty well as last said by Nico, so a bit going on. Yeah, 4-0 to Northern Rangers, 5-1 to University, so I'd expect to see University proceed from the group stages. Probably the only real upset thus far. Of course, the last game of the round of 16, the Lakoseljac Cup, coming over at Warrior Park, 5:30. The big Eastern Shore derby. It's probably not what it once was, when both teams were sort of in the top competition in the south, but it still brings a fair bit of fire to it, and Olympia will go in strong favourites, but you expect Clarence to bring absolutely everything across to Warrior Park in an effort to try and spark an upset. But off Olympia's showing on Friday, it's going to be a real uphill battle for Alan Jablonski and his men. But that one will be interesting. We'll have a live blog up on Slice of Cheese later for that, so stay pegged for that. The other results are all sort of pushing on to full time, so we'll keep you updated on that as it gets close to. But not exactly the most exciting affair I've ever witnessed here at Darcy Street. Devonport really trying to suck the life out of South Hobart attack in the front third, and they've kept them to 1-0 at half time, and they'll be trying to catch them in the second half, won't they, Nico?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see at what point they actually release and start pushing forward with a bit of intent. Haven't had a shot on goal at this stage. Bo Blizzard probably had a pretty good chance, but he decided to take a touch instead of lob it over Pearce, and that was probably about as close as they got to a chance. Nothing to get too excited about. What I will be excited about is going out to see Clarence and Olympia. I'm looking forward to that one. Jabber as coach, he got pretty fiery back in the underage days, and I'm sure he's bringing that fire today to an Olympia clash. He's got to try something and unsettle the Warriors and try to get under their skin a bit and hope for a few red cards and pinch an early goal, so hopefully we see some action as the players here at Darcy Street, or at least Devonport, come back out onto the field. They've put the air back into the tyres, they've tightened up the handbrake. Probably park it for another half an hour. Bobby Eves will be pretty happy. I think the turning point might be, you'll know when Devonport start going for it, they'll bring on Jake Gleeson, who's a bit of a wild man once he comes on. As soon as you see him come on in the second half, that'll be the time when South might actually have to start doing some defending. As we see Bobby Eves impart his wealth of knowledge onto young Bo Blizzard, he's probably saying, don't take so many bloody touches. You keep losing the ball. Very promising young player, Blizzard. Just probably needs to just take that one less touch, make a bit of space and lay the ball off and then look to pick it up again. As we look down at the ground, Jake Gleeson is actually already out there. I haven't seen Matty Jordan go out there yet. He might be the one sitting down. So we could have a substitute. Gleeson certainly looks the part there as he just comes back into screen with the long yellow sleeves. Mustard sleeves, don't really match the top. But not to worry.
An update from up at Mitsubishi Park, about 20 to go in that one in Launceston City. 2-0 up over last year's Northern Championship winners in Somerset. So Lonnie City might go to the next round. They're a team on the rise under Lino Shuley. Good result for them on the weekend. Kimbra Lions had the faithful down at the Den roaring a week before. 2 wins from 2 games. They dared to dream a little bit, I think, the Lions, and went on the road, first road trip for the year, and Lonnie City caught them out. So it's an interesting old league at the moment, the PlayStation 4 Victory League. If we look at the results from the weekend, it's a tipster's nightmare. I think most people, on average, got 0 in our tipping competition. So that just shows just how tough it is to pick. 6-1 to Beachside. Down at Sherbert, I think, aren't they? The Beach down at Sherbert against Southern FC, who, as I said before, would have been buoyant off the back of a big win over University, last year's Southern champions. Quick shout out to former South Hobart striker Andy Brennan. He's just got in touch and said he's calling for Alex Wall to be introduced, and your prayers are answered as we see him come back as South Hobart come back onto the pitch, and he's one of the 11. So who has made way? It looks like Chris Hunt has made way for Alex Walter. I know Hunt has a cold at the moment, so that's probably the answer there. Not exactly sure what's going on here at halftime. Referees have a chat with the Devonport bench. Maybe who we got subs for? Any for Devonport? Oh yeah, the ones you flagged, Gleeson, and then that means. Yeah, we see Michael/Matt Jordan depart, and on comes Gleeson, and that sees Holden move into a more attacking role where we're used to seeing him. How's Gleeson going full back?
Very unpredictable. He could probably chase down the odd attacker, but susceptible to a mistake or two. I tried not to play him back there, but he's put Gleeson back there at left back and pushed Michael Holden on to perhaps attack a bit more down this left side. As the author, Dan Brown, plays the ball through to Darcy Hall. Hall plays a nice little 1-2 with Braden Mann. That's a lot better from Hall, playing the ball around. And he's picked it up again after a nice little run. Hard ball across, and that was... Hamlet didn't really understand the offside rule, and I think it was Walter there that was well offside, and he knew it, but he played the ball there anyway, and it's gone out for a goal kick.
An update from Alinda Grove, and it's very, very messy if you're a Glenorchy Knights fan. 8-1 to University. That is a shellacking in any language. That's a tough one for Mark Broadbent to swallow. They're looking good in the league, but that's a shocker to cop in the cup. University might just be the Lakoseljac Cup giant killer as Darcy Hall gets going down the right, stolen from Syson, pumps forward for Mulroney. He can't control. Dan Brown. I'm wondering, what's your favourite? Dan Brown's work out here in defence, or Angels and Demons, the work of his namesake?
Yeah, I have read most of the Dan Brown books. I do like what Big Dog brings to the table. He's a bit soft for a big fella. Can't head a ball much. He's had 11 corners and got his head to one and headed it straight out. No good. But he's a top bloke though. I do remember him from a long time ago when he was just a little whippersnapper. But yeah, I don't reckon he'd understand the Da Vinci Code too well, Gil. He would have read the first three words on the back and put it straight back down. Hall advances on Chilcott. Gleeson chases back, fouls him in the process. And it's probably going to be Downs or Mann to strike towards goal. You wouldn't... Well, they have passed it. No, Hortelet's not happy with that, and he's brought it back. He wants to take his 10 paces and then make sure everything's okay. Braden Mann not happy with that decision. Mann probably reluctantly runs away from the set piece. Downs can hit one though. Hopefully he does. Hopefully Pearce plucks it out of the top corner. I want to see some action though. I don't want to see... Don't bother. Look at big Daniel Brown. Not even interested in where the ball is. He got no idea. As Down puts a little bit of dip and swerve. And just as the news sinks in, Glenorchy Knights have just lost 8-1 to University, and Devonport out there now lost 3-0 tonight. So you can imagine. I think I've got it. Broady's focused on the league. He don't want a part of the FFA Cup. Broady's going for the league. He's going for it.
Yeah, it's funny because their form of the league has been surprisingly good, but that's a horror show as Mann picks it up. Plays forward, finds Hamlet, who turns with it. As Gorry close in on him, They go toe-to-toe down the left-hand side. Hamlet keeps on running. Dennehy wins well, and Gorry propels forward for Walter. Hasn't had much to do so far. He's a nippy customer, though. Puts it out for Lewis, who just pumps across the box looking for Hall. Gleeson picks it up, puts it out in front of Mulroney and says, "Run, boy." Dan Brown picks it up. Thrown forward by Gleeson. Sison controls round, puts it well. It's stolen from Hamlet. Out now to Walter. What can he do? Just zips by one and plays it into the box, but Dennehy wires to the situation. Puts it out. Score update from Clare Street. An own goal. And it's 6-0 to Northern Rangers. So they're home and hose with Briley, Hose and Hanley. Absolutely cruising. Another corner for South Hobart. Nico, what are we up to now? Lucky number 13. The throwing comes from Downs into the box. Hamlet hustles and bustles. Comes to Hall, who plays to Walter. Here's a block shot. Comes to Mann. Stolen now from Sison. Played forward. Ludford gets a boot in. Gets it to Thomas. Tries to roll it back to him. And now we're with Holden down the left. Races away. Looks inside. Tries to thread the needle and just miscues the ball for Gorry. It's with Lewis now. Puts it in the centre for Kobe Kemp. He gives it to Sison. Sison looks to get it running Devonport's way. Brown with a timely touch. Probably his best work since Angels and Demons. And it's a throw in from Blizzard. Back for Dennehy. Gorry gets a hot footy out on the right. Finds Blizzard, who guides it back. And it's Gleeson. He gifts the ball straight to Thomas. And rightly said in the back of the com box by Cullen Pass, a rare moment of possession for Devonport as they look to thread the net. It was a play forward for Mann. And Mann's probably lucky the flag's raised because there's a shocker from him. A rare error at back post as Kemp plays through to... We'll see this again. Hamlet scuffed it. Mann scuffed it anyway, so it's probably lucky it was offside. It's played from Thomas out wide for Downs. Holden robs him of it. Plays back for Gleeson, who's a winger come fullback. Almost picks out Sison, but it's a hot potato and he can't hold that one down. Pearce now for Kemp. Now for Ludford and Thomas. Rockets it forward. It's blocked off the head of Gleeson. But one back through Hall, and then Brown goes to Ludford. Kobe Kemp spins with it, puts it out on the left. Lewis slides in, as does Dennehy. It's a foul against Dennehy in the end. It looked to be a pretty decent 50-50 contest, but we'll see the replay. Dennehy comes in first. He did get a piece of Matt Lewis, but there wasn't an awful lot in it. He's got up lame as Lewis, so he looks in a little bit of trouble back there. Try and run off a bit of a hobble. And what appears to be an issue with the right leg. But Downs over the free kick now. .53 minute, just 1-0 for South Hobart. Downs rockets it into the box and it's collected from Pearce a long way off his line. Rolls out for Dennehy. He's got Walter as company. Plays forward down the right-hand side. Lewis should mop up comfortably. Plays back to his housemate and Kane Pearce. Short now for Ludford. Goes to Brown. His first touch isn't a great one, but has no one for company, so easily can play it forward. Unfortunately, he's picked out Chilcott. Plays to Gorry, who spins Thomas terrifically. Plays out wide now for Blizzard. Blizzard, a rare bit of time and space out on the right, but he's closed down by Lewis. He keeps going, does Blizzard. Steadies, fires a shot, and it's saved by Pearce. Devonport just slowly building here. They're just lifting. They are lifting as the throw comes out from Pearce. And Hall picks it up, plays for Downs. Pearce, a second ago, was quite animated when he had the ball, just trying to get these charges going because South Hobart do look a little bit flat at the start of this second half. As Brown gets a piece of Holden from the looks of it. Hordle not happy, so it'll be a free kick for Devonport. Brown looks to just wander away with the ball, being a right goose, to be honest. But Devonport retrieve it, and they'll have a dangerous opportunity on the left. Yes, yet again, Paskey with some good information from the back. South have looked vulnerable at set pieces through the pre-season and early season. It comes in from Gorry. Oh! Sison almost met it. I think in the end it's come off a South Hobart number and out for another corner. But at panic stations at back post for South Hobart. We've got a ball game. We have a ball game. Holden to whip this in from the other side. He's rocking the undershirt. Puts it into a crowded box. It's an overstruck corner. Mulroney might just be able to retrieve it from the byline. Does well with a little cheeky backheel to see it out for another corner. Timmy Lunn with a little tweet in saying the students giving Knights a flogging. Paskey makes a mockery of the Victory League ladder. Love the FFA Cup. And we love it too, Timmy Lunn, just as we love your work. Keep those vocal cords in check. Loving your album at home. It's on repeat as it's seen clear by Brown and out for a Devonport throw-in deep in their attack on the far side. Might just have an update from Lonnie City here. 3-0 to Lonnie City, 5 minutes to go. Scorers Compain, Marathi and Amenahu. So fairly comfy for Lonnie City, who, as I said before, a new look Lonnie City really. It's good to see them up and about. They take on South Hobart on the weekend, and probably last year and the year before you'd just say, oh, I don't know why you go along to watch South Hobart, Lonnie City, but there'll be actually a bit in that contest now as Denny picks it up. Hamlet comes in late. This is his second cheese, and off he goes. Ben Hamlet shown red here at Darcy Street. And I've got to say that's probably well, I'll have to watch the replay to be perfectly honest before I jump to conclusions, but he wasn't happy with his earlier yellow card, but this one looked a yellow card live. So it's controlled well by Dennehy. In comes Hamlet. He's got nothing. Nothing but Dennehy. But I'm not sure how much of Dennehy he got. I'm not sure if that's a yellow. Might have to get Ash to tee that one up again. Sorry, Ash. Here we go. So Dennehy controls it nicely on the line. Hamlet comes in. He definitely doesn't get the ball because Denny's got rid of it and checks him. He hasn't got a heap of it. As pump long now and Hall heaves clear. So South Hobart in a bit of well, not trouble. They've still got a lead, but the warning signs are there as it comes out to Dennehy on the far side. He puts it into the box. Chest it down from Ludford. Whacks it clear. Geez, that was beautiful work from Huey Ludford. Picks out Man well. Man plays down the left. No. So, yeah, for me, that looked a yellow. Yeah, looked a yellow and looked a justified red card. The thing for Ben Hamlet, he's filthy with the first decision, but that was a yellow card. He got no ball. So, South Hobart in a bit of trouble. Down to 10 men here. We're in the 59th. That also means Hamlet will miss on the weekend up against Lonnie City. I think it's on Sunday. As it's picked up by Kemp. Plays in a man, receives it back. Gets by one. Kemp's still got the ball here. A nice ball into the box. It's cut off by Dommy Longlegs. Picked up now by Gorry. Plays forward for Mulroney. He collides with Brown. It's won well in the end by, I think it was Longlegs there. Dommy Longo. It's picked up by Ludford. Played forward. Cut off by Gleeson for an instant, but it's back with Kemp. Finds Walter. He turns. Does well. Burns off one. And then Syson wins it back well, but then he steadies and fires to wide to the right. He's an excitement machine, is Walter. Just need to get him fit and firing, and he's going to be a key cog for South Hobart. Nico, how did you see the red card, first of all? We watched the replay a couple of times because Ben Hamlet was visibly filthy with the decision, but you watched it as a pretty clear yellow.
Yeah, I would have thought a definite yellow. It certainly didn't look good. I don't think he collected him with his legs at all, but his sort of torso collected Brodie Dennehy's legs, and it was a bit late, and I don't think there'd be too many arguments with that yellow. I can't actually remember the first yellow. I might have to scroll down and see what he got it for, but yeah, no, that was a yellow for sure. As Blizzard goes down the right wing, tries to skip past Lewis. Lewis gets a toe in and goes out for a throw-in. South Hobart spirits are certainly lifted as the throw-in is cut out by Walter, and Banfield comes across to see it out. And business is picked up here, Gil. We've got a game on our hands. It certainly lifted young Walter. He skipped past about 4 of them there to fire off a shot. Hard and low should have been the order of the day, but it goes over the crossbar. As again he dances through a couple, plays it back to Kemp, back to Lewis again. Lewis looks for man in behind, but it only finds Chilcott on the chest. And Gorry picks up the loose ball. Dennehy tries to go around Walter, but the ball sneaks out. The intensity's lifted by South Hobart as well here, so they certainly have reacted, understanding that it's a knockout game. They've only got that 1 goal advantage, and now they're down to the 10 men. As Banfield gets ahead in front of man for another throw-in. It's good to see we've got a contest. Some of those other games today, Gil, have blown out in all sorts of directions, but this one's going down to the wire by the looks of it, or it should do. Devonport should certainly test South Hobart from here at least. As Kemp looks to pick the ball up from the throw-in, but it's cleared by Chilcott. Yeah, and this is probably a good chance for someone like Michael Holden to really step up and show what a good player he is. He's looks like Chris Downs is shadowing, or he's definitely got his eye on him from wherever he goes. It's just one of those games where you'd love to see one of those young players take it by the horns and deliver it on a pretty big stage. Knocking South Hobart out of the FFA Cup in the round of 16 would be a massive scalp for these guys, and they really probably need it to kick the start of their season. As Lewis, I think it was, worked his way past Gorry in a clumsy type fashion. Ball gets cleared to Mulroney, who's got 0 support, and Ludford cleans up. Pearce looks for the long ball out to Downs, but it's cut out by Michael Holden. Devonport, it might just have made a move. They may have just pushed Dom Smith, the young 16-year-old giant, into a 6 position, so they've advanced a player on already. As the South Hobart Pearce clears his lines. Denny, he picks up the ball, loving his game. He'd be my best on for Devonport at this stage. And he wins Devonport a free kick. In a pretty dangerous area. Probably didn't utilise that dangerous area. As Chilcott pumps the ball along. I guess if the ball's closer to the goals, you've got more chance of scoring, but a bit of direction would have been nice. Here we go, Holden, 1-on-1. Tries a little bit too much. Chris Downs is up to the challenge, plays it back to Ludford.
So full time from Mitsubishi Park, 4-0 win from Lonnie City. Good win from Launceston City. 8-1 it was at Alinda Grove to University. Real shock. Sun FC reduced to 9 men, just hot off the press. It comes a Syson. He gets a bit of space. Fires a rare shot on target for Devonport. And is swallowed by Pearce. You're right, Nico. South Hobart, since that red card, have just perked up a little bit, probably realising they're back in a contest because I think they got pretty comfy there with a 1-0 lead and we're just coasting a little, and that red card definitely perks things up a little bit as it's played from Banfield to Dennehy. A sloppy touch from Syson lets in Walter, who plays Kemp, out in front of Mann, but the line beats him and it's out for a Devonport throw. Devonport definitely more up and about here. We're in the 65th minute. Most results going according to plan in terms of a favourite, apart from University, who have not just caused an upset, they've absolutely smacked Glenorchy. His ball comes across the box from Hall. Just eludes man at back post. Should be mopped up here through Dennehy. Played in to Smith. Finds Syson, who switches it up. Finds Holden. Nice first touch. Passes to Gorry. Plays in front of Holden. It's a foot race now. He looks to bustle in. Wins off Brown. He tries to roll it through the legs of Brown. And then Brown's down for the count. Syson picks it up for Devonport. Back now for Gleeson to Smith. He guides it through. It's with Bo Blizzard. Long ball into the box, and Pearce rises high and gets up and collects. And he'll hold on to the ball with Dan Brown in a bit of strife. Not sure what from. So we'll see that one again. Pearce up and about in a big pack. Collects that one. So Brown just attending to himself. He's maybe copped a stray elbow from Michael Holden. He's not happy, is Brown. He's far from happy. There's a few choice words with Hordle. It's not. Looks like play might get back underway. A real lull in the game all of a sudden. And Devonport give it back through Chilcott, who knocks long for Pearce. He's got Brown on short. And then he goes to him, not with any great conviction. Brown takes a touch. It's a measure of ball. It's cut off by Smith, who's looked lively since moving into the engine room. Picked up by Syson, and it just misplaces the ball for Holden. Man loses it though, and it's back now through Syson, who's been definitely one of Devonport's better players. Gets out for Gleeson. Can he use his toe? Beyond halfway he goes. And a loud set of wheels. Hall comes across. Picks it up for South Hobart. Mulroney bustles in. Skipper wins it. Gleeson helps along to Gorry. Off his head. Lewis rockets it straight into Gorry and goes back, and Pearce should be able to retrieve it on the edge of his box out on the left-hand side. Throws long for Walter. Finds man who combines with him well. Plays it for Walter. He'll look to use his pace. Get outside of Dennehy. Does it well. And in the end, Dennehy forced it out for a corner. So we see this again. Just turns on the afterburners, but Dennehy gets in a timely boot to see it out for a corner from the left. We're into the 68th minute here, and it's 1-0 to South Hobart. They're down to 10 men with Ben Hamlet sent off not long ago. It was in the 56th minute.
Downs makes his way over to take the corner. Corner number 13. I accidentally put one on before when it was a throw-in. Down looks to deliver. Brown's not in there on this occasion. Doesn't get past Denny on the front post. And we've got corner number 14, not 114. As Brown tidies himself up and makes his way into the box. They need to start making the most of these corners. 14 without a goal. Chilcott rises well to win the ball. Picked up by Sison, who plays it over in behind the South Hobart defence, but pierces well off his line to clean up. And shank it out for a throw in the halfway line. Yeah, the move in the midfield by Dom Pearce. He's a 16-year-old. He's very composed, has a touch, plays the ball. As Banfield picks up the ball, looks to get it into the box to Michael Holden. Pearce just found himself just outside the box, which didn't help. Turtle's going to pick. Goal to Devonport! Michael Holden picks the ball up. The ball goes over the back. Kieran Mulroney took a defender out of play. One touch, hard and low into the back post. And it's 1-1 here at Darcy Street, Damien Gill.
I am up and about. What a bit of play and a crisp finish from Michael Holden. I've got to be honest, they've been knocking on the door, Devonport. They've been lifting since that red card. I think a bit of belief began to spread amongst the group, and you called it, Nico. You called it earlier. And cometh the moment, cometh the man, and that was Michael Holden. He finished it nicely in the bottom right. Who knows? This one could be an extra time thriller. It's definitely livened up here in the stands as Downs propels forward looking for Mann. Dennehy rises high. Mann picks it up and goes back now for Thomas. Thomas loses it and Gorry just smacks it. Absolutely cans it on the far side. Whew, I'm a bit lost for words here. It's looked pretty tame all day, and then it's really sprung into life as Mulroney picks it up, plays it out. It was a supreme finish from Michael Holden. Yeah, I think that's his only chance of the day thus far, and geez, he took it with aplomb. It was beautiful as it's down the left-hand side and off the boot of Walter and out for a Devonport throw. They've had 2 or 3 on target, Devonport, but that's definitely their best opportunity for the game, and they took it very, very nicely as it comes down the line. Lewis cuts it off. Smith on the ball. Tries to squeeze it through traffic. Can't. Lewis picks it up. Plays it in front of himself. Gets running. It's a nice bit of work from Lewis. Out for Mann. Banfield comes across. Gets enough on it. And then Dennehy helps him. And they win it back, Devonport, and play it through traffic nicely until Dennehy, a heavy touch, lets him down and it's out for a South Hobart throw. And you can just see tension has risen in the stands, Nico.
Yes, sphincter tightening stuff for Ken Morton now. He knows he's down to 10 men and his side need to somehow probably find a goal. As Sison picks up the ball, hasn't been convincing on the ball, but he finds Gleeson that time, who in turn finds the man of the moment, Michael Holden. Looks to skip past Chris Downs, but decides to cut back instead. Plays the ball safely back to Bradley Chilcott. Chilcott plays out well to Brody Denny, who's got a paddock in front of him. Waits for a defender to get across. Plays the ball into Adam Gorry, who gives it straight to Matt Lewis. Ludford pumps it long, doesn't want a bar of it. Dubious, speculative ball back in the middle by Banfield. And Dom Smith, Mr. Composure. The 16-year-old, Dommy Longlegs, has just become best on since he's moved into midfield. As he picks the ball up again, feeds it to Blizzard down the right, hard and low across the box. Smith almost picked it up. Adam Gorry with a powerhouse shot, and it's gone just high and wide. Wowee. If that was on target, we'd have had goal of the year. Certainly plenty of life back in the game as we've got a sub. Darcy Hall makes his way off, and Frederico Hess makes his way onto the ground, and he's going to play high and wide on the right hand side for South Hobart as Pearce takes the goal kick. Smith wins the header over the top of Walter, I think it was there. Sison flicks the ball onto Holden. Downs gets his foot in the way as Thomas wins. Walter tried to do something with it, and it's gone. It's cleaned up by Devonport, but yeah, certainly South Hobart now are looking to play. Hess has been given the instruction to play very high and wide on the right, and that looks like it's going to be their outlet. As soon as South Hobart figure that out, they try to get it out to him, but Gleeson cleans up.
Jeez, this is cup football. This is great. About 15 minutes to tick. 1-1 and South down to 10. They pick it up through Hess. It's a good save from Pearce, the youngster. Off his line, dives and gets enough on it, and there's help further. Out to Mulroney now, who's got a few to deal with. Does well in the end, wins it back, and it's a Devonport throw. He's battled really hard all day, Mulroney up the top. We'll see this save again from Pearce. It was a Hess ball across the box, and he just leapt out. And then Banfield, no-nonsense approach, got it on the boot as Ludford does much the same. And Pearce will gather at the edge of his box. This would be one of the best ball overs what you ever see. His man picks it up and fires off a shot as it comes from Pearce. It'd be one of the biggest ball overs you'd ever see if Devonport can somehow proceed into the next round. It looked like a tough draw from South Hobart when it was dished out, but at that point we didn't know what Devonport would dish out in the league as it's played long from the right. Holden rises up on it. Downs looks to win it. In the end, Holden's pressure sees Downs put it out for a throw-in. So in the end, it's Devonport's ball. I'm not too sure what went on there. Went too far with a throw, and it's Gleeson now with a throw for Devonport. A sloppy touch lets down Smith, and Thomas puts it out in front of man. Pearce meets it, gets it high. Thomas rises in the air to contend with Chilcott. Gorry smooth in midfield. Into the bullseye, plays across for Dennehy, who's just battled well all day at full back. Nico, mate, you just clearly never knew his position when you were coaching. Playing him on a wing, he's a fullback.
Never claimed to be an expert, Gil, but yeah, certainly his first year of Victory League, he put plenty of goals away, but he had Braden Mann up there to help him that year, and he probably saw the benefits of a bit of closer attention to Braden. Yeah, last year he had no idea what I was doing. Probably should have played him at right back. Well, you live and learn as the ball comes into Kieran Mulroney. Plays it back to Dom Smith, who, after having plenty of good touches, his last couple have been not great. As Gleeson picks up the loose ball, doesn't mind to run the kid. As Kieran Mulroney turns like a Mack truck. Gorry tries to pick out Blizzard, who... That's going to be a corner. Yes, corner to Devonport.
It's a funny game, football. Devonport didn't look like it for the entire first half, and then a red card pretty well sprung them to life. Because Holden whip in a corner here. It's a nice one to a crowded box. Mulroney with a head on it. And then Smith gets onto it, but it's a pretty tame effort with the follow-up header, and it's wide to the right. But they did not look like it. Then Hamlet was shown red, and they've just sprung to life. And Holden scored an absolute beauty, and all of a sudden it's panic stations. Pump long from Pearce. We're in the air. Brown gets down to head it, and he's giving it straight to Smith. Smith tries to be slick on it in midfield, and Sison plays it back for Chilcott, who pumps it long. Blizzard's coming from the right. Pearce gets a bit on it. Ludford scurries it clear. Down for Gorry. He chests, lets in Ludford. It's seen out to the right from Smith to Sison, who's a smooth mover, I got to say. Dennehy takes a tumble. It's won by Alfred Hess. There's Banfield, sloppy bit of work, gifts it to Kobe Kemp. Can South Hobart catch them here? Played out on the left to Alfred Hess. A living Cluedo character with a name like that. It's played back from Dennehy to Banfield. Picks out Mulroney. Has a bit of a juggle and then finds Gorry. He puts it out in front of Dennehy, but the line beats everyone. It's out for a throw in. So the results so far today: Zebras 6, Taroona 3, Newtown 1, Northern Rangers 6, Launceston City 4, Somerset 0, Metro 0, Kingborough 4, Southern FC 1, Beachside 7, University 8, Glenorchy Knights 1, if you believe that. And currently it's 1-1 here at Darcy Street as it's played down the line from Lewis to Mann. Puts a ball across the box. Chilcott heaves it clear, and it's worked out pretty well for Devonport as it finds Dennehy. Toes it for Sison. He does enough to almost nip it around Walter, but Walter's got speed on his side, and Gleeson just ships it up the park on the left-hand side. Downs stops it from going out and goes to Pearce, who chips it down the line. It eludes Gleeson there, picked up by Hess, who gifts it straight to Chilcott. He'll whack this one. It's off the hand, it looked from Brown, but it doesn't matter as Mulroney looks to win it. Ludford plays it out on the right. Picks out Hess, who controls it well. Out in front of Walter. Will he use his turn of speed? Tries to play it into the middle, and Pearce will retrieve from his 6-yard line. We're into the 81st minute here. Oh my lordy lord, as it's pumped forward. Off the head of Ludford. Comes to Gorry, who's really lifted a notch. He almost threads the needle for Blizzard. It's chopped out. I think Gorry he's definitely kicked it up a notch or two, Nico.
Yes, he probably needed to. Hadn't played the finest game. Brody, I was going to say it could be Brody Denny's finest moment if he snuck through there. It's getting to that point in time where you just think that with the experience that South Hobart have got up front, Braden Mann's done stuff all game. You might find that he might, unfortunately for Devonport, just pop up and score that one as we see a sub. I think that might be Kobe Kemp coming off. And we've got Stevens coming on. A little bit more experience, a little bit more bulk. Probably not a bad move.
Callum Pask at the back of the box. It's just been a nice little, well, you're not even putting your vocal cords to it, but just chirping away at the back. Some nice input from you. Just probably pretty aptly put it that South probably want to win this in 90, and the inclusion of Stevens certainly suggests that as it's pumped long. Blizzard wins down for Gorry. He tries to navigate that man, Joe Stevens. I tell you what, if there's a place for Joe Stevens, it's extra time. Ice running through his veins. He doesn't get panicked at all. It wouldn't worry him. I'd love to see him from the penalty spot as Alex Walter steals it, races toward goal. Chilcott collects him. Nothing untoward, says Hordle. Oh, Thomas rockets it. It's a fizzing ball along the deck that hits the left upright, and Devonport escape. Blizzard can get him going. Out in front of Dennehy. Can they counter them here, Devonport? They look inside with Dennehy. He played for Sison. Denny's kept running. Sison opts to take the shot, and on his line, Pearce collects. Action at both ends here. Banfield rises high, sees it away from Mann. It's down for Sison, nods it towards Blizzard, back for Sison, who, for me, has been one of the players of the game. I really like Sison. Comes to Chilcott, whips across, finds Holden. He controls, he beats a couple. Here it is, Michael Holden. Oh, he's got Ludford, gets a piece of him. It's a free kick for Devonport. Oh, approaching the 18-yard box. Here we go. Michael Holden's got his name on this one. We see it again. Ludford tugging the shirt of Michael Holden. I don't think he got a slice. No, he escaped without a slice of cheese. But, good distance here. Michael Holden, is he the hero for Devonport? He steps up here, Michael Holden. Good to have Cam Whiteley on from the Advocate as well, listening in. Oh, Holden! Oh, Holden. It was Garwood, and Pearce very safely just tips it over. As we see it again, Holden got nice contact on it. Pearce probably was going over, but safety first, just goes and makes sure of it. Corner here now from the left. Whipped in from Gorry, punched away by Pearce. Man helps it further. Dennehy gets a piece of it to Chilcott, who just propels forward, comes back the other way. Man picks it up off his toe. Blizzard can't quite get it by him, but Dennehy does. He picks it up. He gets by one, beats a second. He should have played that one as he was hunted down from Thomas. Out on the left now for Baden Man. Blizzard comes back to provide a bit of support for Chilcott, who's guarding Man. It's with Walter now, who spins with it, plays in front of Man. And Man meets it and puts it wide! He puts it wide, Braden Man. Oh my Lord, Walter with a great spin. Beautiful ball through to Man. He took a touch, put it wide. He's appealing for a penalty. He's got no friends with that one. Braden Man, I would have said 10 times out of 10 finishes that one, and I would have been wrong because he's missed on this occasion as Hess plays through to Thomas. Puts it out in front of Man. Banfield slides away. Banfield done well back there. Plays forward for Dennehy. He lets it run. Oh, and Ludford mops up. And as far as Thomas, and Banfield steals. He looks to just get it moving out on the left. Oh, Pearce puts it down for Brown. At the edge of his box, he receives back and plays Ludford. Mulroney comes in, shoves him aside, and it's a foul against the Devonport skipper. Wasn't a lot in that one. It was milk for all it was worth. Played down the left and out of play for a Devonport throw. Three minutes left to tick in this one. Extra time might just be upon us here at Darcy Street. Has played down the wing. It's won by Mulroney. Closed in by Cool Calm Collector Joey Stevens. Brown gets it on the boot. Oh, and he's got one of the softest free kicks you'll ever will see. He made Hordle know that he copped a little bit of contact from the Devonport skipper. But South Hobart gifted back possession through that one. Pearce was almost keen to take the free kick, but then probably thought if that goes sour, it could look pretty silly on his head as it comes forward for Brown. Plays short. Harrison Thomas and receives back from Downs. Here we go. Can they catch him on the counter? Gorry on the ball now. He's got Holden on his left. Plays him. Oh, he beats Brown. And now he's got Ludford to deal with. He's called back by Hordle for the foul. Ludford not keen to give him the ball. Holden has looked to expose him on that left-hand side. And it's Gorry over the ball. Bobby Eves on the edge of his area, barking some directions. Gorry puts it into the box, over the head of Mulroney. Pearce spills it! It comes to Smith! Oh! Just wide to the right. Oh my Lord, Pearce escapes a very, very nervy moment at the back as we'll watch it again. Gorry whipped in, over the head of Mulroney and Brown. Pearce came to it. And he's coughed it up. Devonport clattered into each other, and that Smith almost guides it home, but it came off the chest of Syson. Probably prevented the shot from going goalward. Hess on the ball now. Looks to get going down the left. Not if Banfield has anything to do with it. Comes in and clatters forward. One in the air now by Smith, and he sees it out. We're into the 89th minute here at Darcy Street. A lot of people expected a fizzer from this clash here today. Walter Plester's first question of Matt Lewis at the press conference yesterday was, you got Devonport tomorrow, that should be pretty easy. Well, it's been anything but. as it's seen out from Dennehy for a corner. And here goes Dogger Brown. South Hobart have had an absolute swag of corners today. Is this the one for them? This will be their 15th corner. Dan Brown hasn't got great connection on any of them. Is this the one? Downs over it from the left. Swings it in. Pearce gets a bit on it. Enough in the end to see it over his own net. And it'll be another South Hobart corner. Nervy moments for a young goalkeeper in Pearce at the back. He's only 16. Guarding goal for the Strikers. He's been pretty solid today. He has to step up when it matters, and this is that time as Downs delivers in. Pearce rises high, nudges it along, comes off, man, rockets into. Banfield cries for handball. Doesn't come. Comes to Gleeson. He looks inside and then out. Comes to Banfield, and he does what probably needed to be done, and he just knocks it out. And out for a South Hobart throw-in. Joe Stevens. Downs throws it down the line, and then Gleeson sees it out. We're into added time now. There'll be some nervy South Hobart fans in the stands. Downs throws along into a crowded box. Banfield gets a bit on it. Helped further by Smith. Mulroney now rises up, gives it to Blizzard. He looks to play it out for Gorry. Good pressure coming from Ludford. Headed clear by Gleeson out there. He's got Walter now. He gets that foot in. Blizzard gets enough on it to see it. Back to Brown. He finds Stevens. He's never felt pressure in his life. Gets it out on the right. To Fred Hess. And Gleeson gets a foot in. Does well to make sure of it. And sees it out of play. We're about to tick into the 92nd minute here at Darcy Street. It's a long throw. It comes in from Downs. Comes to Walter, who has a look at goal, but puts it wide with a left footer. There cannot be much left in this. There's been one minor injury complaint to speak of with Dan Brown clutching at his head. Apart from that, it's been pretty much business as usual as Pearce drives forward. Beyond halfway it'll go. Off the head of Mulroney, looking for Holden. Downs wins it. Gleeson gets it plenty on it and sees it out. Hordle looks at his watch. Downs looks down the line. Hess gets a piece of it, and then so does Walter. It's out of play in the end of Gleeson. There cannot be long at all. As it comes down the line, Gleeson and Walter collide for it. Walter on the ball. And in the end, Walter spills it out for a throw-in. Good measured stuff at the back there from Gleeson. Thrown down the line. In the air, Holden comes in on Hess. And Hess sees it out for another throw-in. So Devonport, you're hoping to just soak up whatever's remaining on the clock. It can't be long at all. Plays short to Chilcott. He just rockets one and switches it right up. Finds Dennehy. Looks to play it first time. Misses Gorry. Or will they catch him here? South Hobart. From Thomas to Walter. He'll use his leg speed. He's run in from Chilcott. It's come over the top. Oh, it's Manus at the back. Comes from Hess. And he scuffs it wide. And that's full time here at Darcy Street. We're headed for extra time in this Lakoseljac Cup round of 16 clash. Westfield FFA Cup qualifiers. We see the final nervy moments from Devonport. They almost bottled it here as Gleeson gifted the ball. Came out to Hess to complete the script. Put it wide. And both teams will look to just regroup before we get a bit of extra time action. I don't think just about anyone expected this coming into today's tie. What an exciting conclusion it was to the second half. We might have a quick look at the two goals if we can, if I don't want to work old Ash Wilkes overtime over there, but we'll see what he's got. So the first goal came to South Hobart rather early on in the 9th minute, and here it was. It was Mann who really made it. Played across for Darcy Hall, put the bow on his present, and then Hall finished very convincingly into the right-hand side of the net. The equaliser came in the second half. It was a long ball from Blizzard. expertly touched down from Holden, gave himself the best chance, and then rocketed it home into the bottom right. The celebration followed it up well, and they celebrated Devonport, and that is why we are ticking into extra time here at Darcy Street.
Very interesting. The referees have left the field. I'm not sure why. There is extra time, and we're supposed to get straight into extra time, from my understanding, Damien Gill. Maybe a little comfort stop. The pressure's on. We're all excited. Yeah, should be a real cracking extra time here. 2 lots of 15 minutes. Another half an hour. Ken Morton's probably just saying to his goalkeeper Pearce just to calm down a little bit. Probably his last 5 touches have been pretty horrible. He needs to compose himself. Should it go to a penalty shootout though, he's the man that you'd back in to win the game for South Hobart. So, on the other hand, young Pearce, all you have to do is stand there and dive and save him if you can. So who knows what he's capable of, only a young keeper. He's getting vocal in the group down there, so hopefully he's up and about for it. But yeah, that one-man advantage, what are Devonport going to do with it?
We've just had Jacob back straight across and just drop a bag of chips. Thank you very much. That's why he's part of the Slice of Cheese team. We'll run through the results actually from around the grounds. Earlier, Hobart Jeep Zebras won 6-3. Newtown went down to Northern Rangers 6-1 at Clare Street. Lonnie City won convincingly 4-0 at Mitsubishi Park. Kingborough got the job done at North Chigwell 4-0 over Metro. Sun FC went down to Beachside 7-1, and University with a big ball over took Glenorchy Knights down 8-1.
Yeah, the referees still haven't come back. Normally extra time, they're supposed to get straight into it. Maybe, hopefully, they're listening to the broadcast. Maybe I could just give them the hurry up. Hopefully there's a few. But Jimmy Hordle, if you're down there, mate, you need to come back out and referee another extra. He's probably checking the rules of extra time. Maybe he hasn't read up well enough what's expected of him just in this point in time. All the players seem to know what's going on. But yeah, referee. Maybe he wants to get out to watch Olympia versus Clarence. Gilly. Yeah, here they come. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back, referees. Callum Pass just pipes up from the back and said there is another red card in this game. I haven't had my eye on the game the whole time, but Adam Gorry's the only one left on a slice of cheese. So he could be the favourite. He will be in the thick of the action. As Jimmy Hordle tosses the coin. And we're staying as we are, and South Hobart look like they've got the kick-off. The beauty of cup football, Damien Gill, I love a bit of extra time, and I know penalties aren't always a popular way to decide a game, but I actually love them. Love a good penalty shootout. The pressure. Oh, Tom Pearce with a crunching tackle on Hess. As Syson plays a nice little 1-2 with Blizzard. Blizzard cuts inside, toes it over to Michael Holden, who looks to slip Kieran Mulroney through. Dom Smith picks it up on the left. And Kane Pearce, one for the highlight reel. It's probably gone 3 or 4 metres wide.
Blizzard with a great run and gun, and then put it to Holden, and then Smith who I've been quite impressed with, actually, Smith. Dommy Longlegs, as he's known, up at Valley Road. As Brown goes back to Pearce, who finds Huey Ludford. Back to Brown. Questions coming from the back of the box galore from Callum Bask. He has just asked, is the sweeper back in vogue as a result of Devonport's heroics thus far? Throwing down the line from Dennehy off the boot of Gorry. They sweep it back through Lewis and Pearce on the ball now. Play forward from Pearce. Trap well from Lewis. Down now and swept forward by Blizzard. Mulroney meets it and it's just come off Brown and set up nicely for Pearce, and he plays forward with a big hoof now. Oh, Chilcott scuffed his clearance. Dennehy scurries back and sees it out. Banfield on the ball now. Comes out now. Cut off by Lewis. Walter picks it up. He gets racing. He's got Smith for company. Puts it out on the left. The former Devonport striker man sweeps it across the box. No one home for South Hobart. Gorry will pick it up in defence for Devonport. He'll run away with it. Whacks it long down the line. Looking for Holden. In the end, the line beats him. Brown came across to provide a bit of a shepherd, and it's out for a South Hobart throw. Throw in now for Downs. Well, something South Hobart are too used to. I'm interested to get from both of you guys. Paskey, who was supposedly trying to give his jaw a rest, but has yattering from the back of the box as it comes now to Mulroney. Gets it from the ball and puts it across. No one home. Pearce should pick it up, but he's got good pressure coming from Sison, who's come across. I really like the cut of his jib as it's Sison who throws in. Down for Blizzard. Rather lacklustre effort from Sison there. Goes to get it. Thomas picks it up instead and sees it out for a Devonport throw. Dennehy down for Blizzard. Dennehy looks to get involved again, and Hess very astutely puts it out off him and out for another throw in. This is what cup football is all about as it comes down the line. They wrestle for it, Dennehy and Hess. Comes to Sison, tries to get a boot on it. Thomas does enough to nudge it South's way, but only as far as Chilcott. A raking ball and an ordinary one. It's picked up from Downs, who puts it forward off the head of Gleeson. He has a couple of bites of the cherry and then picks up Holden. Just keeps it in, and they clatter into him. It'll be a foul against him. Horwell might have a bit more to say about this one. He does. A slice of cheese to Chrissy Downs. Might need to refuel. Might need the slice just to refuel because it's been a long old game. They only played a couple of days ago. Get a bit of calcium into him. They just pump long from Gorry. Smith looks to win in the air, but Stevens comes out on top. Plays to Hess, who turns and moves it along to Walter. He loses it. Dennehy has been superb, I think. Just been his work rate. Second to none out there as it's Gorry on the ball now. Plays to Holden. He looks back to the defence. Gleeson, who's also impressed me, comes to Holden. Puts it out in front, looking for the run of Sison. Ludford wins well in the air. Gorry with a header down. Downs on the ball. Sweeps forward. Walter with a spin and a turn. Banfield clunks it forward. Eludes Mulroney, and it's won well by Brown. Comes to Stevens. Sweeps forward looking for Mann. He picks it up, cuts inside. Chilcott gets a bit on it. Thomas rattles one off and puts it wide to the right.
Yeah, that's a couple of shots Thomas has had that have been hit with power, but haven't found the target. Sison wins the ball in midfield. hopefully lays it. Oh, looks for the defence splitting ball, but Lewis is certainly up to the task. Thomas picks it up in the midfield, skips past Syson and looked like he was going to pick up the free kick. Didn't know. As the ball goes out to Michael Holden, who skips past one, skips past another and is obstructed, but once again Hortle keeps his whistle away from his lips. As Walters tried to skip past Gorry, he loses the ball. Gorry tried to do it in return and manages to find his way over the line for the throw-in. Just really don't know which way this is going to go. Could be anything. As Pearce, he's looked a bit shaky on the ball of late. Looks to play it long and puts it to a contest to Blizzard, who wins the ball, but it's gone out for a throw-in. Matty Lewis takes it long. Brody beats him to the ball. Brody Dennehy, that is, sorry. Lewis again with the long throw to Walter this time, who surely handballs it. Hortle looks to see if his linesman saw anything, but he's got his cap down, pulled down, too far down there. Probably didn't see much. Ball goes out for Devonport throwing.
What a story it would be as it's thrown down the line from Gleeson. Holden picks it up. Downs cuts it off and gives the man into Thomas. Doesn't mind a shot, and he certainly doesn't on this occasion. Puts it yards wide to left. Devonport can regroup and restart. No matter the result from here, I think one thing is for sure. We've seen more of the true Devonport today than we did on Saturday as Banfield whips forward. Brown wins in the air. Syson chest down. He gets it to Gorry. Gorry plays out in front of Holden, looking for the run of Holden. He'll look to meet it before the byline. Puts it across. Almost gets to Mulroney, if not for the swinging leg of Dan Brown. South Hobart now look to counter. Walter out in front of Hess. Hess has Dennehy for company. Dennehy puts a leg out there. Hess streams by him. In the end, Chilcott gets enough on it. Dinked over the top from Walter to Mann, who spins with it. Almost looks to handle it. In the end, Chilcott rockets it out for a corner. And that is South Hobart's 17th of the game. Quick bit of love for Ash Wilkes, cameraman extraordinaire. This is stressing him out. We get to just sit here laughing and giggling in excitement. He's working his socks off as it comes into a crowded box over the top. And Banfield will just watch this one out for a throw-in the end. And a good result for Devonport. Ash Wilkes, take a bow. The coverage he continues to provide is unbelievable. It's down the line. Looking for Syson. It's a shocker in the end, and it's out for a South Hobart throw. So the line, there's a bit of confusion. Confusion actually reigns supreme here. Is the linesman said the ball never came in, but Hordle isn't happy with that. So in the end, it's South Hobart's throw. Comes to Dennehy as nothing comes from the eventuating throw-in. He puts it forward and he's asking a bit of Blizzard. Pearce whacks long and strong. They had a Bambi Banfield. Down for Mulroney. And then he feeds Dennehy. Dennehy gets by one. Beats a second. And a race into the bullseye now, Will Dennehy. Plays it out for Holden. Look to beat him. He plays to Gorry. Oh, he receives back. Holden gets through. Plays it out for Mulroney. He's laid it all out there, dropped it off for him, and Pearce, like a freight train, came from nowhere and collected with a slide. Jeez, it looked like Devonport might just snatch one there. As Lewis plays down the left, off the chest of Hess. Hess has Syson for company, plays inboard, finds Walter. Hess has to beat Dennehy, plays it into him and out for a throw-in. Everyone is standing up and full of attention on the Devonport bench. What an epic conclusion to this round of 16 clash as it's thrown down the line by Lewis. And Walter is an electrifying player, but that's a sloppy old effort. It means Devonport can just refresh and restart from the back. Pearce over this one. Pearce. Rockets long. Beyond halfway. Off the head of Brown. Down for Walter. Comes off his chest. Banfield tries to pick out Holden out there. It comes off the head of Downs instead. And he finds Mann, who's picked up the ball a lot. A long way from his front third where you're used to seeing Mann on the ball. Ludford on it now on the left. Plays short for Lewis. He swings it. Chilcott picks it up. Plays a long diagonal ball looking for Holden. He collides with Brown. Brown had a raised leg. He's collected at least a little piece of Holden. Holden may be milking a little bit. South Hobart see it out in the end as a result of Holden's injury. Interesting to see. Hordle may have just put his whistle away there. They Callum Pass is correct in saying they both clattered in for it, but it was a raised boot. So you've seen them given. As Brown plays forward for Stevens, he turns and swings it out onto the right. Hess looks to give himself the best opportunity, plays out in front of himself, and Gleeson picks it up. Expertly turns and wheels around and plays forward for Holden. Puts it into the bullseye. Oh, Ludford loses it, and then Gleeson does the same. Lewis picks it up. Sison with a timely tackle, and the result of that is the ball just breezes forward and into the grateful arms of Tommy Pearce. He gets plenty on this one. Beyond halfway it goes. One in the air by Brown. Walter nudges it down. Stevens turns back to his defence and finds Pearce at the edge of his box. I think Pearce would like to have as little of it as possible as the game ticks on. Three rise high in Dennehy, Banfield and Mann. Devonport come out with it through Chilcott. But it's an agricultural old effort, and he puts this one out of play and out for a throw-in. Lewis brings it back into play. Mann hustles and bustles, but he can't stop Smith, who whacks forward. It ping-pongs between two heads, and Mulroney and Brown comes out for Ludford. He just heaves forward. Off the head of Mann, and Dennehy might just do the same, and he does, and helps it out onto the far side and sees it out for a throw-in. There are some nervous players out on the pitch at this point in time. It's high stakes. Of course, it's not just the next round of the Lakoseljac Cup on the line, but the opportunity to play in a national competition in the Westfield FFA Cup. Only one spot for Tasmania. So there's plenty riding on the Lakoseljac Cup as Gleeson does well right near his corner flag and sees it out for a throw-in. Downs to bring this one back in. He does so, finds Walter. They whip it in. Pearce rises for it. Nobody home for Devonport apart from Dennehy, and he sweeps it out off the line. They escape by the skin of their teeth. Oh my, oh my. As Downs picks it up. Propels it forward. Pearce a long way from home. Misses everything except Bambi Banfield, who has every right to feel a little bit of grief with that one. Comes forward now through Dennehy. Cuts inside of one. Beats another. They're out on their feet, these South Hobart midfielders. Comes to Gorry. He tries to put a ball through for Holden. He's made it. Oh, it almost looked like he's finished, but he struck the side netting, and that's the end of the first half of extra time here at Darcy Street. That could have easily been a second for Devonport. Oh, as it cannons into the side netting on the left-hand side. Beautiful knock. So we'll see some, as we see this replay, I don't know how Devonport got out of this with 1-1, but Brodie Dennehy is... So they look to quickly restart it, and as he did that, I actually saw Kane Pearce with a bit of a hobble. That might be of some concern. South Hobart will want to close this out from before getting it to penalties because they don't have. Although Pearce is probably the better of the Pearces, but I reckon they'd have nightmares of the penalty shootout against Tuggeranong last year. They won't want to go back there. I think knowing Ken Morton and the South Hobart team, they would still fancy themselves from this position. But you got to say, it's stark contrast between the football in the first half and the football now is it's swept forward. Bit of a nothing ball from Syson, really just giving the possession back to South Hobart. Devonport still looking to do the bulk of their attacking on the counter and looking the goods when doing so as Brown picks it up. Plays forward. Bambi Banfield gets a bit on it, but it'll be a foot race between Walter and Dennehy. But Pearce comes in to provide some support. Plays out for Blizzard. He can't pick out a yellow shirt. It's Ludford that plays forward looking for Walter, but yet again Dennehy's back there and gets enough on it to find his keeper. Pearce, long and strong, over the head of Mulroney. Off Ludford and down from Syson looking for Blizzard. He tries to just guide it back to Dennehy, but it's a hot potato for the young winger come fullback and out for the throw in, although, or so we thought. Hordle went the other way and then decided to go with what it pretty clearly looked like. It was South Hobart ball. Hordle's had a funny old game in the middle today, in the grey and green. The throw-in comes in from Lewis. He finds Walter. Gives Lewis a bit of a problem with an aerial ball, one back. Pretty hot for him. Gorry brings it down, finds Mulroney, the skipper. He collides and Walter picks it up. Looks to get racing down the left. He's got Dennehy to contend with. Dennehy does well, plays it into him and out of play. Dennehy, for me, would be best on at this point in time. He's been superb. Who would have thought he's been a pretty serviceable winger for Devonport over the first 2 years of the Victory League. He's been outstanding at fullback as Mulroney picks it up. Plays in the bullseye and finds Gorry. Looks to play it early, but he's smothered off it by Thomas. Hess on the ball now. He's got space out right. He's got Gleeson to deal with. Gleeson bodies up. Hess just loses it a little. Plays to Gleeson. Gleeson's got him in his pocket. Then plays it out for a South Hobart throw-in.
Yeah, Dennehy definitely best on for mine. As Downs down there takes a throw in. Comes off Gorry's shin for a corner. And if the game was judged on corners, South Hobart will have trounced Devonport, but luckily for Devonport that's not the case. As Downs places the ball surely with 18 crosses. 18 crosses, corners, and not one has come to fruition as we get a 19th corner as Braden Mann shoots low and hard and deflects off someone for a corner. Downs goes down to grab the ball again. South haven't put too many numbers in the box. They've probably got 4, 5 as Lewis gets in there. Dommy Longlegs wins the header. Lewis heads it back in. Banfield clears to the halfway line where Ludford awaits. Picks the ball up. There's numbers at the back post for South Hobart. He does play it to the first one of those in Daniel Brown. Puts a nice little cross. And that is back across goals. Beautiful ball by Daniel Brown. He may be a winger, who knows? And who was it that turned the ball in? Walter, young Alex Walter, with a textbook header. Ball comes in from Daniel Brown, the author, the architect. Downs does really well with close attention from Dennehy and one of his own players. I think it might have been Thomas. Yeah, righto. Can Devonport respond in 10 minutes?
Great goal from Alex Walter, youngster. Rises high and takes the opportunity. Not done though. Devonport still have legs on the bench if they want to use them. This is play forward by Gorry, given straight back to the provider for that goal in Dan Brown. Thomas plays forward and Gleeson sees out of play for a throw in. Throwing down the line, and Gorry just sees it clear. That probably won't work for Devonport from here out. That will be playing into the hands of South Hobart. It's been a funny old contest as Downs throws it down the line. Hess will meet it. He's got plenty of pressure coming in the corner. In the end, Devonport see it out. And it's out for a corner. South Hobart will take their sweet time on it. And that will be their 20th corner for the game. So, had a few opportunities with these set pieces. Whipped in from Walter. Pearce off his line. Gorry meets it with a head off Dennehy. Down for Mann. He crunches it. Comes back for him. Fakes one way and looks to shoot. Blocked by Dennehy again. Chilcott puts it clear, but Lewis is there just to beat Blizzard to it and see it out of play.
Yeah, Braden Mann's had a bit of a stinker of a day. Both his shots were blocked there. Hasn't really asserted himself as he did at Valley Road. As Dom Smith plays the ball to Syson. Gorry, first time out to Holden. Holden with a quick little 1-2. Probably should have went around the outside of Downs. Instead he tried to come back inside. And the ball is cleared. Gleeson tried something fancy with the shoulder and probably would like that ball back, I reckon. Centre of the chest might be a good place to control the ball. Fred Hess picks up the ball down in the bottom corner. He'd be happy with it down there, but Gleeson wins the ball off him. A little bit slow, trying to beat 3 or 4 South Hobart attackers, come defenders. He picks up the ball again. Strong challenge by Smith on Hess. Syson cleans up for Devonport. And Brody Dennehy cannot keep the ball in, and it's a throw into South Hobart.
You'd think from here South Hobart close it out, but boy oh boy, Devonport can go back on the red line regardless of how it ends. A pretty proud bunch. Come in undermanned, only a couple on the bench, and they've made it a real contest as the throwing comes from Lewis to Mann. He puts it across. Pearce will race off his line and look to play Devonport forward. Plays for Holden. He is beaten to it in the end by Thomas. Played from Hess. Thomas will look to meet this one. Rockets it straight at Pearce, who saves it. Back for Thomas. Puts it across the box. Chilcott picks it up. Puts it out on the right to Blizzard. Just put it back to Dennehy. Dennehy with a long ball down the line. Almost an absolute ripper, but in the end just a little bit overhit and out for a throw-in in South Hobart's defence as we see this one again. Thomas with a 1-2 with Hess. And then he definitely should have done better than he did with this one. Played it at the near post, probably should have tried to play it across to the back. And good save from Pearce. Lewis down the line, off the head of Smith. Chilcott will pick it up in defence for Devonport. Pearce on the ball at the edge of the box. Pumps forward. Lewis wins it in the air and sees it out. South Hobart now on the left-hand side. Man on the ball. He's got Dennehy for company, as he has all day. And you have to give Dennehy the Easter eggs on this occasion as Lewis gets involved and spills it out of play for a Devonport throw-in on the far side. I'm due to get across at Warrior Park to do at least a live blog from across there, but we'll probably be a little late starting that one as Mulroney sees it past him. Downs just whacks forward. Not the prettiest game of football you've ever seen. It's long and strong. Looking for Mulroney. Smith wins it. Plays Holden. Holden looks to get by Downs. He whacks it long. It's a pretty obvious theme now as it ticks into... to almost desperation doorway for Devonport as it's played long. Ludford wins it. Off the head of Smith. He's done well. Blizzard with a heavy touch. Lets in Lewis. Turns and plays it long. Chilcott wins it. Down for Dennehy. Looks to sweep it long and diagonal. Off the head of Downs. Hess turns. Gives it. Gleeson runs along. He'll look down this left-hand side for Holden, you'd assume. As he does, Hess sees it out of play. Down the line it goes. Holden on the ball. Looks to play it across. It's cut off by Downs. This could be a key moment for Devonport as we're ticking into the 26 minute of extra time. And it comes now for Sison. He gets round and plays it in the 6-yard box. Cut off by Ludford. It's with Mann now. He can run away. South Hobart crowd find a bit of voice. It's with Mann. He's got a couple for company. Gleeson gets a touch, but Mann keeps it. Plays it across the box. No one home for South Hobart. Gorry's there for Devonport. He'll look to race away and maybe ignite a last chance for Devonport. Andrews wins, but Ludford robs it off him. Plays forward. Thomas wins. 1-2s with Walter, but they win it back through Dennehy. Played from Gorry to Sison. It rattles it away, a long diagonal. Looking for Holden. It eludes him on the first go. He'll pick it up now. Wide on the left. Look to get round Downs. He looks to use some strength. Plays it from the byline into the box. Just by Ludford. Comes to Blizzard. He can steady. Oh, he shoots. It's blocked by Brown. Out now through Thomas. And South Hobart escape. It looked like Devonport might just have another one in them there. They'll keep pushing on though. Man on the ball now. Plays it forward. Walter has it blocked by Chilcott. Hess slides in and Devonport win it back. It's with Gorry. He looks to play a long ball over the South Hobart defence. Doesn't come off. Lewis cuts it off. Stevens on it now in midfield for South. Plays in. Oh, receives back from Hess. Here we are. Coolcombe collected. Oh, gets by one. Oh, he's still got it here, Joey Stevens. Plays it across, looking for Mann. It's cut off with a desperate effort at the back. We're out now through Gorry. Gorry looks long and diagonal, looking for Holden. Comes down for Moray. Looks to test Pearce early, but Pearce saw it coming. And he's looking to just play down the clock here, is Pearce. Holden makes him earn it. And here we go, Devonport back with a ball. Bit of confusion at the back for South Hobart on that occasion. Gorry down for Dennehy. He plays a ball across from the left. They're all out on their feet. Plays into the box. Brown eventually heads it despite some nervy and wobbly knees. Play forward from Chilcott. And it's out to the left. Bobby Eves, the coach, does his best to run it down and make sure Devonport's job isn't done here. Downs to throw in. Down the line. Acrobatically, Walter sees it out. Gleeson will look to pick it up. Could be last roll of the dice just about for Devonport. Down the line, Holden with plenty of pressure. They bustle into him. He's picked up the ball and it's a foul against Harrison Thomas. Bobby Eves, very animated on the sideline, right behind Holden. They all pile into the box. Pearce out to about halfway for Devonport. This could be last chance saloon. Pearce even bursting forward. Here we go. Whips it in into the box. Misses Chilcott. Pearce is there. Blizzard picks it up. Looks to get by him. Oh, Smith gets by one. It's with Mulroney. Oh, from the byline, Ludford sees it out and it's out for a throw-in. Deep in the front third. Blizzard to throw in. You think this is the last chance. Throwing comes in. Blizzard. Oh, he's miscued the ball. It's a shocker. Oh, Walter wrong foots the keeper. Pearce bursts back to try and pick it up. It's going long. And Pearce watches it out. And that's full time here at Darcy Street. Devonport fought and fought and fought. But South Hobart go into the final 8. I don't think anyone expected that contest. Even Devonport themselves coming down on the red line from Valley Road wouldn't have expected a fight like that. They took it to South Hobart, the reigning Lakoseljac and PS4 Victory League champions. They took them to extra time. And just in the end, South Hobart managed to scrap out a win. But it was just that, a scrap. Devonport made them fight all day. And they can be proud going back on the bus. But South Hobart venture on in their defence of Lakoseljac Cup. It's certainly a scare on this occasion. But they take the chocolates at the end of the day, winning 2-1 in extra time. The winner coming through, Alex Walter, in about the 109th minute. What a game from Devonport. You've got to give them a lot of plaudits. What they dished up on Saturday up against Glenorchy Knights was pretty awful. And there was a lot of doom and gloom around Devonport and their performance. But, geez, they brought it today. It might not have been pretty on all occasions, but their effort, they were tenacious. They attacked the contest. And in the end, they had to bring the best out of South Hobart to get it done. Devonport get in a huddle, and they'll look to regroup as we see Michael Holden's terrific goal. That was the equaliser in the second half. And it looked then that Devonport were up and about. A fair chance of sparking a revival and upset. And here's the winner. A superb ball from Dan Brown. Tantalising to the back post. Walter rose high, nodded the wrong side of Pearce. Just eluded the outstretched leg of Chilcott and went into the bottom corner. And that was the winner in the end. But Devonport, as you can see in a huddle, you'll be proud of what they dished up right there. They'll look to regroup on the weekend. They've got Northern Rangers, South Hobart up against Lonnie City. Thanks for joining us here from Darcy Street for an absolute humdinger of a clash. We hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. But for now, that's all from Darcy Street.